Well, hello and welcome to another Quarantine Cast. It is Brian Noonan, Cody Goff, and we are your hosts. Where is Craig, you may ask, because I thought it was the Quarantine Cast with Brian, Cody, and Craig. Craig will be joining us at 9 o'clock. I got to say right out of the box, first of all, hello. And you can tell something special is in the air tonight because we both had collared shirts on. It appears that we have showered. I know I did a lot of grooming today. So it is a very big day on the Quarantine Cast. Very, very exciting. It is Bourbon County Stout Day, Cody.
I'm so excited. Like this is one of my favorite shows to do with you every year. Because I mean, it's like, what can you say? It's pretty much the best beer. Like it's like pretty much the best beer that you can get.
It's one of these things that started a long time ago and has grown and become not only a national phenomenon, but a global phenomenon. And it all started right here in Chicago. We will be talking tonight with Mike Smith. He's the senior brand manager from Goose Island, who handles the Bourbon County Stout and vintage portfolios. And then, very exciting, one of the brewers, in fact, the brewer who created this year's Proprietor's Blend, that woman is Emily Kosmal. So Emily will be joining us as well. We're going to sample. There are 7 variants. We're going to talk about all of them. Cody and I are going to sample 4 of them. Hopefully we will survive until 9 when Craig joins us. Barbara, Janice, Brenda, Debbie, Maureen, everybody's saying hello. So we are very excited this year. And I want to talk to Mike and Emily about this. This was a different kind of year for BCS and their big release. But I'm like you, Cody. I cannot wait to I've got my tasting all laid out.
Yeah.
And I warned Debbie and Molly that there's a good chance I may not come downstairs when this is over because the bedroom is right over there, and that's going to be a much easier stroll, I think. Because for the uninitiated, Bourbon County Stout is delicious. It's meant to be shared because the alcohol content usually above 13%. For the ones we're gonna sample, the Bourbon County Special number 4 that weighs in at 13.3% ABV. We've got the Proprietor's Blend that I mentioned. Emily was the person who created this, so I'm very excited to talk to her because Proprietor's Blend is always one of those beers that, if you're fortunate enough to get it, it's now. Are you one of the? I'm not a cellarer guy. I'm a drinker guy. Like I drink the beer. I do have a Proprietors from last year that I haven't drank yet, but now I'm going to have to make room for this year's.
I do save some because like you, it's like, well, you want to have it, but you also want to not drink it so you still have it.
Well, and I can't drink it. I don't want to always drink it by myself because nobody in my house, my wife won't drink it. Molly doesn't drink beer. I can't give it to the dogs legally. So, right. You and I share it, and I've shared it with some other people, but it's a strange thing to have this beer. You go, oh man, I really want to drink that. But
I will say, and we'll probably get into this, but it does keep very well overnight, like really well.
There's a new thing. Did you notice something new on the back of the bottle this year? On the back of the bottles? That was not there. I went back and checked because I saw this and I was like, I don't think this has been on before. And I went, now granted, I checked a 16 and a 17, said the man who doesn't keep his, but it's all there. There is now, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, you know what? Maybe that's got to be the drink by date. We'll ask Emily and Mike when they join us because that's something new. I think in the old bottles that I looked at, it said bottled on. So you had the bottled on date. Yes, Christine saying we are dressed up. It's a big night, Christine. It's like our Christmas, quite frankly. This is a very exciting time. We're always very grateful to be included in this and get to talk about Bourbon County Stout and talk to some of the folks. And I'll rub your nose in it again, Cody. I have my big prop day winnings downstairs that I was able to that I'm able to enjoy as well, which is where I got why I'm one of my tastings. The Proprietors actually coming in my prop days glass. Oh, I'm so fancy. Sorry.
One of the not only did I miss the Goose Island Prop Day lottery, but I also missed the Binny's lottery.
Oh,
because I'm an idiot. But I did enter the Jewel lottery. Didn't get a spot in that. But there are a couple. There are a couple places, and I don't know if we'll talk about it later, but there are a couple places that are offering packages. There's an app that you can buy alcohol, and then they're doing pickup.
like Drizzly or something?
Something like that, yeah. But there's one venue in the Chicago area going on sale Saturday, and there's another one going on sale next Wednesday.
Oh.
So there's still some chances to get some ahead of time. And I'm sure they won't all, I mean, it's not like they'll all sell out the day.
Right.
Get your hands on them as soon as possible so you get the varieties that you want.
Right. And there's certain, the original, there's usually a little bit more of that. Every year there's a couple different variants that you can still find. And this year it is different because people can't line up anywhere. We couldn't line up at, people couldn't do prop day the way they usually do. So Goose was very good about that. Craig will join us, as I said, at 9:00. Everybody, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat and we will try to ask Mike and Emily about that. And I see everybody's in the room, so we might as well, why us keep jabbering when we can welcome our guests in with us tonight. She has been patiently waiting. Emily Kosmal is a brewer at Goose Island. She actually created this year's Proprietor's Blend. Emily, welcome. We're glad you're here. Thanks for coming.
Hi, thanks for having me.
This is very exciting. And your counterpart, Mike Smith, is the senior brand manager at Goose Island. He handles the Bourbon County Stout and the vintage portfolio. Mike, thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you guys. Always good to have a marketer on, huh?
Yeah, this is, you got to have a mark. You got to have something going on. Sorry, Mike. All right. So Mike is here. Emily is here. Mike, we'll start with you because it was a lot different this year. As you were starting to get ready for BCS, and normally you're planning prop days and it's the big lottery and the big festival, that obviously couldn't happen. How long a process was it to decide and switch gears like this to get the BCS out to everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. We started planning this thing more than a year out. We're already looking at next year, honestly, and it's crazy because this year hasn't even hit with the beer actually going out. But when we went into the first lockdown in March, we were like, a couple weeks, we'll be okay and things will be on track. And that shortly changed into a month and then 2. And then we started talking very early about, what should we do this year, the way things are going. And I think the biggest thing that we want everybody to know is we all decided we want to get this beer out and we're going to figure out a way to get it out into the world. Our fans love it. We love it. It's one of, the employees' favorite beers out of our portfolio. So we worked really hard, had a lot of meetings and really tried to figure out a way to safely release all of the Bourbon County beers this year. So I'm really excited that we figured out a way to do that with all of our partners. And we have I've been at Goose for 6 years. I think it's the best lineup we've had since I've been here. I've been a fan for a lot longer than that. So really exciting stuff.
Well, everybody is raving about this year's lineup. And to go back to what you were saying, I was fortunate enough to win in the lottery. So nice. I got to go through the process and it could not have gone smoother. I was, when you're going into something like this, you're expecting long lines and a lot of hassle. I was in and out, no problem. It was wonderful. So kudos to you and your team and everybody at Goose for figuring out a way to do this and keep everybody moving. It was terrific.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was a good experience. We have the best activation team in the business.
All right, let's get into the beers. We've got 7 variants as we always do, and we'll start talking with the original because that to me, usually when people ask me, "Oh, which one was your favorite?" I always say I've got to take the original out because it's always superb, and that's the key to all the variants, right? The continuity in the original Bourbon County Stout.
Yeah, I would say too, it's my favorite every year, and I have to take myself out of that every now and then because they're like, you can't just pick the original every year. What's your favorite variant?
Right.
And we'll get into that in a little bit, but we've grown this brand over the last 20 years to be just a few barrels to more than a few thousand. And more recently in my time here, and Emily can speak to this too, our brewers not only can make a really good stout to put into a barrel and see what happens, but it takes a lot of talent to blend all these barrels together every year to get a consistent taste, batch after batch that we then put in the bottles and the kegs and ship out. So for them to manage all the barrels and find out, we'll take these that are this old and these barrels from Buffalo Trace, Heaven Hill, Wild Turkey, blend them together and get it consistent and get it out in the world, is very telling on just how talented they are. It speaks to the distilling crossover that you're going to see here in the beer and the bourbon industry. And it's fantastic. And if you don't have a good base barrel-aged stout, you can't even make a variant after the fact. So you need to have that base locked in, which we have, and after that we have a little fun with some.
Emily, what's the challenge of keeping that consistency year after year on the base stout? Because I would imagine, as Mike was saying, if you don't have that, no matter what variants you're putting in, it's going to throw things off.
For sure. So definitely, I am primarily work in the brew house, so I start this process of Bourbon County. It's crazy to think that we're actually brewing some today. I just stepped aside for a minute to do this, but so that'll be a years later Bourbon County.
Wow.
But it's crazy to think that what I'm making now will actually be enjoyed a year later. So it's very important to make sure we're hitting every target. We have to make sure the right ingredients, good quality ingredients, right temperature, right gravity. Everything has to be in the proper spec, or a year later it's not going to be good.
That would not be nice. And you guys haven't really had too many problems with anything like that. So the brewers obviously know exactly what they're doing. So Mike or Emily, whoever would like, tell people about the original. We don't have the original. I know I will be out at my local retailers because I know it's always worth a trip.
Yeah, I think the original, just on the history, and Emily, you can speak to the beer after I get done with this. Back in the early 90s, in 1992, let's say, Greg Hall, brewmaster for many years, they were coming up on that 1,000th batch of beer at the brew pub on Clybourne, which is still there today. And they wanted to do something special. So he was getting the idea to brew a big imperial stout back then, put as much grain as he could into that mash bill, and make something that was very high ABV and really kind of dessert-esque. And it just so happened that he went to a beer, cigar, and bourbon dinner over in Indiana and met Booker No from Jim Beam, master distiller back then. And he asked him if he could have a few of his used bourbon barrels, because he just got this idea, why don't I just put this beer I'm brewing into a barrel and see what happens? A couple weeks later, rumor has it 6 barrels showed up. I've never okayed, is it 4, is it 6? I don't know. Just a few barrels showed up, brewed that beer, put it in the barrels, let it sit for 100 days back then. But when he tasted it, he knew he had something that hadn't been done before. So over the next 20 years, tweaked it a little bit, brewed a little bit more each year. It was only on draft for the longest time. Released it in package back in 2005, I believe. Very small. In 2010, 10 years ago, we made a special batch and decided to release it on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. It was the first ever rare we did. And people lined up at the door to get it, and it was $55 a bottle. And we're like, this is something cool. So we decided to release Bourbon County every year on Black Friday. And here we are, 2020, and people are still lining up. Not this year, but still excited to get the beer. And we couldn't be more excited to continue this legacy growing and making fun variants every year that are different and having a lot of fun with the brand.
So tell us a little bit about the beer, Emily. What characteristics are people going to get if they've had the original before? Kind of the same thing, or are there some new subtleties to it?
So of course it'll be very similar, but every year there are some subtle differences. And this year we blended with several different types of barrels. We have bourbon barrels coming from Heaven Hill, Buffalo Trace, and Wild Turkey. So a lot of the flavors that you're always going to get there, cocoa, chocolate, vanilla, are always going to be there. But there's maybe a little more this year, I think, of some almond and some of that like leather, tobacco, things like that. So it's quite good. I think the highest ABV we were getting was about 14.6%. So very enjoyable.
Wow, that's that's the thing with these high alcohol, and that was, as you said, Mike, that was the goal from the beginning, that Bourbon County Stout was going to be this high alcohol concoction.
Yeah, it comes out when it's done fermenting on the beer side around 11, 12% ABV, so it's already up there, and we put it into those unwashed used bourbon barrels that we get in fresh, and let it sit for about a year or more, and it picks up all the bourbon and the wood that's been left behind, and it kicks it up to 14. Sometimes we've had some batches in the low 15% ABV. Definitely can get you through those Chicago winters. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, so let's talk about some of the ones that we have. Cody, Mike or Emily, which one should we start? Now, you know the four that we have. Where would you suggest that we start this tasting?
Did you say you had original?
We have old number 4 or special number 4. We have proprietors, we have birthday, and we have Carmela.
Gotcha. Let's start with the birthday bourbon. That's going to be same base as original. This is a really special one. Emily was talking about how we get Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey, and Heaven Hill barrels in for the original. Different blends every year. When we go to make the batch, we grab different barrels from all 3 of those distilleries and blend them together. So it's a mix of different distilleries. With this birthday bourbon, the reason why that's special is we partnered with Old Forester distillery down in Louisville, and every year they release a birthday bourbon, and it's one of their higher end releases. It's a very small batch. Their master taster, Jackie Zeiken, goes around and picks a few barrels, and the ones that taste the best, and they release it. And the bottle, if you can find it, it's about $150. Immediately goes up to $500 if you can't find it on the shelf. So it's ridiculous. Whoa. But we got those barrels in last year in 2019, put the same beer in it. We didn't blend them with any other barrels, so we just wanted to highlight, their very special birthday bourbon, and that's what you're drinking right here. So it's very cool to drink next to original, but drinking it right now, you're going to see a very thick mouthfeel. It's got some really cool dark fruit notes on it. I think it has a little bit of cinnamon and vanilla and oak on it, a little bit heavier than that of original. But it's simply fantastic. I mean, if you can find the bourbon and drink it next to it, that's a real treat because you can see what carries through. But I have yet to do that even on my side.
I was going to say, do that? You're out there. Are you, when you go down to get the barrels, do you ride with the guys and go, why don't we get a sample while we're down here?
Yeah, I do it every now and then, but they're like, how about some regular Old Forester and you'll get the idea. I'm like, all right.
That's not fair. So Emily, when you're putting these together, and can you explain for people who don't really follow this, and Mike was talking about mouthfeel and getting hints of chocolate and vanilla and maple. Can you explain to people how they're getting where they're getting those flavors from? Because you're not putting Hershey bars and vanilla extract in the barrel with this. How are they getting these flavors?
So a lot of it is coming from the malts that we use. We use some dark chocolate malts and roasted barley and things like that are giving some of those chocolate notes, but a lot of it also is coming from the barrel. So some of more of that oakiness and the vanilla and even the cinnamon, that's all much more on the barrel side flavor wise. And that's pretty much where it's coming from.
It's very nice. And it does, Cody, what do you think?
It's phenomenal. I feel like I'm reminded, even though it doesn't mention sherry in the tasting notes, but I'm reminded of the Mon Cherie from last year. Weirdly, I don't know if it's just like maybe the same sweetness level, but I feel like anybody that enjoyed the Mon Cherie last year, which I thoroughly did, would enjoy this. Not to mention, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I didn't want to open the box that it came in because it's so beautiful.
It looks very pretty. That's the other thing. You get these and it's like, oh, that looks nice. It's like when you get something on a plate, you go, that's too pretty to eat. This is too pretty to drink. But it's all right. I'll sacrifice beauty at some point. Mike, what goes into picking these barrels? Because now, as we talk about some of the other variants, this was Old Forester and their birthday bourbon. You use Angel Hill, you use Buffalo Trace. There's lots of different bourbon barrels. What goes into you guys, and Emily can probably speak to this too, what goes into picking what barrels and what variants will go in which barrels? Because I'm sure that plays a big part in how everything works out too.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. We have out of the 7 variants this year, we have 3 barrel forward variants. I'd say even 4, maybe if you count original with the blend. But with how much we've used barrels as kind of our 5th ingredient in making the beer outside of the 4 normal ones, Emily just spoke to how it enhances the flavor completely differently and adds new notes. We're at Goose, all the brewers on the marketing side, there's just as much bourbon on our desks that there is beer. And we've really gotten into it, and we know the difference between a good bourbon and great bourbon and just your everyday bourbons. So for us to work with our distillery partners and call out their top bourbons, and knowing that they can't use those barrels again because they can't call it bourbon if they did, we like to use them and highlight them once again and breathe second life into them and share them with not only their fans but our fans, and educate them and get our fans into bourbon and their bourbon fans into beer. So those are always special treats. It's very cool to know a barrel can play that much into changing the beer. Yeah. And then Emily, on the variant side, we on the original, we don't get anything younger than 4 years old. We're looking for 4 years old or older, and that plays a big part into having a good base to make a variant too.
Very nice. So the birthday is going to be one of the harder ones, I'm guessing, to find, but it is definitely worth it. And if you were lining things up, you said maybe do the original and then compare with the birthday. That would be the way to go into it. Yeah,
I would start with the original stout and do the barrel versions first, so you can compare those, and then get into some of the other ones that have some adjuncts involved.
All right. So would that mean that we are going to go into the special?
Let's go to Caramella real quick before we get over to special number 4.
I'll be honest, when you guys first, because I loved the wheat wine last year, I went crazy for it. And I know some people were like, oh, it's kind of sweet, that was part of why I liked it. So when I saw the description of the Carmella coming out this year, I was like, oh, I got a feeling that might be one that I'm going to look forward to.
Yeah. Emily, do you want to tell them how the wheat wine differs in the base beer than the stout?
Yes.
Yeah, so wheat wine is basically, when we're making original Bourbon County Stout, it's an imperial stout base, but wheat wine definitely is not. So it's primarily wheat, very difficult to brew, but we
makes it so difficult
found a way to make it work and make
what makes it so
delicious.
Difficult to brew?
Wheat is as different than barley. So barley is the perfect ingredient really to make beer. Wheat is a little stickier, so you have to be a little more patient and to get it through, basically to get it to filter through itself. But we've made it work.
And you were saying the wheat is sweeter?
It just has a different flavor, not necessarily sweeter, but it definitely has that wheat character. And we also, so this is in different barrels too. So this is in larceny barrels, and it's actually a wheated bourbon. So it's going to give it even more of that wheat characteristic.
And is that because it's not an imperial stout? That's why the color is lighter than it is with the regular stouts. So it's for people who get nervous when they see the dark stout in the glass. This is going to be so much more accessible, and yet it packs. What's the ABV on this, Emily?
It's also 14.6. It's the same as original, so
we don't mess around.
No.
It basically is the same process as brewing the stout, but with different ingredients.
Wow, you definitely get the caramel coming through, the butteriness of a taffy apple, and you do get the apple flavor in there. It is, and it's not, Cody, it's not as sweet as the wheat wine last year. Mm-hmm. It's got a little bit more creaminess and a little tartness to it.
Yeah,
I think
it's extremely unique. And I remember thinking about the wheat wine last year. This one also just a little bit different than the other ones than what you would expect, but it's so good.
It's something that we used larceny wheated bourbon barrels from Heaven Hill last year, and with this one, the big difference is Joey T. He really loves caramel apple. desserts. So he's been working on this recipe for a couple of years on the stout, believe it or not, where he puts apple and some caramel flavor, and it was great. It's always one of the finalists for a variant, but this year he tried it in the wheat wine, and that's where everybody at the brewery was like, now that's one we'll see this year. So it was cool to have his variant picked this year. It's always a badge of honor to get picked as a brewer who gets their variant out into the world. And this one, man, talk about, perfect night tonight, maybe tomorrow when it hopefully hits 60, just fall weather, caramel, apple, I'm thinking hayrack ride, maybe a bonfire. It's a cool beer. Yeah,
Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect for all of those. And we're gonna, Emily, we'll get into how your variant got brewed and your thing, but explain that, Mike, the variant brewers, because as you said, Joey did this one. Joey today, is that how we pronounce his last name? He brewed this one, and so explain that, and then. I don't know if you can, because even if you don't use a brewer's name, Emily would know whose variant you were talking about. I wanted to know if there was one that came through, or maybe in the past. It doesn't have to be this year's. It could be one that came through and you just went, what are you thinking about? This could be possibly one of the worst ideas in brewing.
Well, I don't know about you, Emily, but Emily, I haven't been invited back to have my own variants in the mix for a couple of years after what happened. But no,
so you have to be invited. Do the brewers all submit something, and then somebody decides, all right, we'll at least let them move to the next stage? How does the process work?
Yeah, it starts in January, so it's right around the corner. It's a year-long process where anybody in the brewery is invited to do a tabletop version, is what we call it. So you can take some of the base stout home and in a mason jar and put the ingredients in. You think that would work, and they bring it to work, and we have some very serious discussions, tasting meetings. Probably one of the coolest meetings you can have in a workplace. Give honest feedback. A little more of this, a little less of that. Mike, why are you in this still? Kind of mentality, and then goes to a round 2 and a round 3, and by round 3, there's enough feedback to where we kind of get into a good group of what we want to move forward to, and go from there.
And so this, do you remember one that was just, not that it was, it wasn't closed. It was just so bizarre. Like I'll give you an example. We were doing a segment and somebody brought us in a ramen noodle beer.
Oh, bro.
And
Man.
It was a rough
almost
night.
made me want to punch that person in the throat for exposing me to this travesty against beer and humanity, quite frankly. Have you ever had one that you had such a visceral reaction, like salami does not belong in stout?
Emily, you got one that you remember?
No, I mean they're all pretty good. We always joke about some silly ones like doing a Chicago style hot dog or something, but no one's ever actually made it.
That's probably best.
It's always a back burner thought,
There's always some ones with like some peppers in it. There was one this year, the Kentucky Fog. I know we're not drinking it tonight, but that one was kind of weird when I first saw it.
Well, let's talk about that, because it did, just on paper, that seemed to me, I was like, wow, how is this going to work? So explain what Kentucky Fog is and how it does in fact work.
So that was a variant based off of a London Fog coffee drink, where it's a couple different teas, Earl Grey teas being the biggest one in it, and something to sweeten it up with honey. So one of our brewers decided, his girlfriend really likes London Fog drinks, and how could he incorporate it in this beer and have it stand out? And he did a rendition of it in the first round. And I remember, like, personally seeing it on the sheet, I was like, oh, London Fog tea, like, that's not really something I would go to. So I tried everyone else's, and that was one of the last ones I tried, and I was still like, oh, wow, that's pretty tea heavy. But then get to the second round, it's still there. I tried it. I'm like, it's something might be there. And by the third round, I'm telling you, like, it is something like the more you sip on it, the better this gets. And it makes sense. The tea comes through on the nose. It fights back and forth with the bourbon in the barrel. And then you got this nice long finish of sweetness of honey. And it is phenomenal. It is really a good beer. And for all the naysayers out there, wait till you open it up. Don't stop after 1 or 2 sips. Get to that third, fourth. Before you know it, half the bottle's gone and you're hooked.
There you go. And it has been getting really good reviews, and everybody all the reviews seem to say the same thing that you said and that I said, where you look at it and you go, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. And Emily, you can address this when you're trying to come up with a variant. Is there, I guess it's just trial and error, because sometimes on paper something doesn't look like it's going to work and it does. And conversely, you might go, this is going to be fantastic. And then it doesn't quite go. So how much trial and error in general and goes into trying to figure out what goes into these variants?
Quite a bit. A lot of us will be thinking about it all year, trying to either think outside the box and come up with something quite different, like this Kentucky fog, or stick with ingredients that work well with it and just rearrange them in different ways, combine them in different ways. So like we usually have about 3 sessions where we'll submit our ideas and taste them. And something that might have been a huge failure the first time with a little tweaking might actually be chosen finally the 3rd time. So you really don't know until you get that perfect blend together, what might or might not work.
Very nice.
Can I just say, I have full faith in that Kentucky fog. I feel like it reminds me of like one time I was in Las Vegas, and I was at a place looking at the cocktail menu, and there's like 6 cocktails, and I picked the ones with the weirdest combination, because I'm like, they're putting like peanut butter and licorice and elderberry or whatever in this. They like, you don't do that if it's bad. So I tried it, and it's one of the best cocktails I've ever had. So the second I saw Earl Grey tea in a Bourbon County Stout, I'm like, there has to be something to this. So I'm looking forward.
That's great. You make a great point. I mean, I can't tell you, our brewers are just unbelievable. They're like the same bartenders that are out there making those crazy cocktails. You read it and like, that works, and you try it and it blows your mind. It's the same thing with our beers. They always figure out a way to bring in new ingredients we haven't worked with and make it work and make you blow your mind. And every year, that's why I get excited. It's just like, what are we going to release this year that people are going to be like, what? And then try and be like, yes.
It is amazing. And I've always said that brewers are mad scientists, because just when you read what goes into some beers, you're just like, what kind of mind is concocting this? And it works. And it always works. Let's move on to the other one that we don't have with us tonight, but it is a big deal because it is the anniversary Bourbon County Stout. So, Mike, you want to lay it out, and Emily jump in and steer him right if he goes way off track.
Yeah, don't make me start making things up, Emily.
It's a beer in a bottle.
Yeah, no, it kind of goes off the coattails, not the coattails. It's right in there with the birthday bourbon. It's another barrel expression. We worked with our friends down at Buffalo Trace and the Weller brand they have down there. A lot of people are asking, why don't you just call it Weller BCS Stout? And I was like, well, there's a reason it's called Anniversary. Like I said, 10 years ago, we released our first barrel expression. It was the 2010 Rare with Buffalo Trace. It was a 2-year aged Bourbon County and 23-year-old Pappy Van Winkle barrels from Buffalo Trace, and it started Black Friday. So 10 years later, here we are. It's the anniversary of Black Friday. We had some really cool plans that we wanted to do at the start of the year. They changed a little bit, but we kept the name, and it's our nod to all of our friends that have been standing in line and growing this brand with us, and excited to drink some really cool beers that are highlighted by a barrel. But we got 2 years ago some Weller 12-year-old barrels, which is a very sought-after bourbon from Buffalo Trace, and put the original in it, let it age for 2 years like the Rare did, and now you're seeing an extended aged Bourbon County Stout, and it has some nuances that are even different than the original compared to the birthday bourbon. So this one's it's going to be tough to get. It has its own, I think, a little bit more char, smoky characteristic. It's got what I'd like to say a little bit of Weller candy sugar sprinkled in. That makes it pop, but it's a fun one. I hope people enjoy this just as well as the rest of the original lineup.
And the thing about all of these, and Emily, you kind of touched on this before, the bourbon flavor doesn't overpower any of the beers. And is that due to the how sturdy the base is, that you do get the taste of the bourbon, you get the essence of it, but it's not like, oh, I'm drinking bourbon that's kind of mixed with something else?
Yeah, I mean, you hit on it exactly. It is a very robust base beer that we make. It's, I mean, we basically, it has a very long boil time compared to every other normal brewed beer. It is, it has to be, because it needs to hold up its own integrity being in that barrel for a year or more if it's a one of these fun rare variants we're putting together.
And they are fun. Cody, you want to introduce we'll ask Mike. Should we go to proprietors or special number 4?
I really want to hear about proprietors. Emily, I think you have an unbelievable story this year. So let's jump to that.
Good, because first of all, I want to tell you, Emily. I said to my wife and daughter, I go, the brewer who came up with Bourbon County's proprietors blend this year is coming on, and she is a woman, which I know is becoming more and more common in the brewing industry, but it wasn't for a while. So before we get into this delicious beer, how did you come to brewing? What's your story? How long have you been at Goose?
I've been at Goose for 5.5 years. Before that, my background is food science. So I've worked at several different food and beverage companies before I came to Goose. And those were all great and fun, but my ultimate goal, I've always loved beer and sharing beer. And I really wanted to connect more with the customer, like in a more direct way than what I was doing before with food. With beer, I mean, not right now, unfortunately, because of COVID, right. But we have our tap room, and after a shift, you can go down and share beer with your customer immediately, and that's pretty cool. So I always really wanted to get into beer. So I started looking for open positions, brewer positions, and Goose Island gave me that chance, and I've been here ever since. So it's
very cool. Well, congratulations. Now I'm getting the feeling from Mike that the brewers, a number of them have tried to get their variants through for many years. Some successful, some woefully unsuccessful. Let's be honest. But how long had you been trying, or was this proprietor's blend your first shot?
This particular one was I came up with that one last year, the last January when we came up with these, and it's kind of funny how I came up with this idea. So, I mean, we're always trying, like, we know come January, end of Christmas, that's when we're gonna, put forward something new. And I was just thinking about it really hard. Oh man, what am I gonna do this year? We've done so many things, and so I guess I was thinking about it so much that it appeared to me in a dream. So I had this crazy dream where I was in the Goose Island tap room, and everyone's drinking Bourbon County, and we were serving Spumoni ice cream with the Bourbon County, and
wow.
And so, and like it was a goofy dream. Like, people were in line and fighting over everything, and this is obviously before lines were a bad thing now. So, but so I woke up and I instantly was like, that's it. I have to put a Spumoni ice cream recipe together. So I wrote it down really quickly and fell back asleep. Woke up again, and I'm like, all right, this is it. I'm gonna submit. I'm gonna get the ingredients, the classic ingredients, pistachio, chocolate, cherry, and give it a try. And took a few iterations, but I mean, there are classic ingredients that pair well with Bourbon County. Chocolate always is going great. Darker fruits like cherry and nuts in general are a little tricky to pull off, but they do tend to pair well with it. And then there's a little bit of vanilla just to make it a little more creamy and more ice cream like. So
it's so good. Now, when you submit the variant, do you say, I want this to be proprietors, or do you just say, here's my variant, and who decides that it is this year's proprietors? Because fun fact, this is not your first proprietors. You may be the proprietor whisperer. You
I was going to say, if Emily didn't say it, I think she's one of the first that have gotten. She's the second to get proprietors. So.
Yeah, you came up with the 2016 variety, which I enjoyed on my last birthday. I said it was fantastic.
Yeah, another one with chocolate. Obviously,
Yes.
I'm a big fan of chocolate.
As am I. So when you back to the do you say this should be proprietors, or do you just say, hey, make this one?
Yeah, it's more we submit our ideas, and then it's really more voted on where we think it will fit best as far as the flavor profile and things like that. Like Mike had mentioned earlier about Joey with the caramella. Like he has been submitting caramel apple consistently, and we always like it, but it just never got through, you know. And
Okay.
finally, when he put it together with wheat wine, it made all the sense in the world that's where it belonged, you know. So
So
it
Mike,
is kind of a vote among brewers and the brewmaster
okay.
and the whole R&D team.
How do you put the lineup together? Because you always have the original, and that has this flavor profile, and it's going to stay similar throughout the years. Then how do you, as you start picking the variants, is that when you go, okay, we're gonna put Carmel in there, and we've got Emily's, and it's this is the one. How did Emily's variant become proprietors?
That's something. I would say, Emily,
everybody liked it. Well, that makes sense.
No, everybody liked it, but some of these variants are a lot harder to make on a bigger scale. I mentioned that it takes us a year to make a variant. You know, starting in January, we might pick it mid-February, end of February, but then the brewers have to spend 3 or 4 months to source the right ingredients to build that little mason jar batch up to a few hundred barrels is a tough job to get right. So some of these variants are a lot harder to grow bigger. Proprietors being just shared with our friends in Chicago. Sometimes you're going to see a trend where those more difficult ones, not to say that we couldn't scale them up, but we like to save those, or the ones that are really special that have a few ingredients. We'll put them in that proprietor slot so we can share them the right way and not run into any issues maybe.
This one, it makes sense that you have a background with food science, because I mean, like, the number of flavors I'm getting from this, just as a look at the sheet, I mean, it really smells of chocolate, and I was like, I'm gonna drink chocolate milk. But you get the cherry, you get the pistachio, you get the dark chocolate. Like, this is very complicated, full-bodied, really, there's just a lot of, you're getting
the cherries come through nice without slamming into everything else. You do get that chocolate, and then there's that cherry, and the everything blends. How long? So you had your dream, Emily, and you wake up, and now you're gonna. So how many iterations did you go through before you brought in the mason jar to the team and said, okay, I think this is one you're going to try? Was there a lot of trial and error? Was it, too much cherries? Not enough pistachio? What kind of process did you go through to get it where you would finally submit it?
So, I mean, basically the first submission, I grabbed the 4 different ingredients. I made 4 separate mason jars of all 4, and then blended them together into what I thought was a pretty good blend. I think the first time around it was received pretty well. I mean, obviously it needed a few little tweaks. Either it had too much chocolate or not enough cherry, or maybe the wrong cherry profile. So then I tried to lean a little more towards like a candied cherry to taste more like what's in a spumoni you get, from an Italian market.
Yeah.
And it really only took a few little tweaks, but like I really had that vision, and it came to life pretty quickly.
I want to take a nap now, see if I can dream up some fantastic, something fantastic. I don't know. Usually my dreams do not come to fruition like that. That's very, very cool. And how much do the other brewers get? Is there a lot of rivalry when now you've had 2 proprietors? Do you walk around the brew house like you're, just a big shot, and everybody's got to call you Madam Emily? What goes on when you land two like that?
I mean, no, but I mean, we all are really supportive. Like when someone's is chosen, we're all really excited, especially if someone's been trying a certain flavor for a long time, or if it's a flavor we're just really excited about. Like we all kind of make comments and more or less it's not really voting, but it's a form of voting where we kind of choose which ones we like the best, and if something that everyone was excited about gets chosen, we're all really excited. We want to see the best product get made. The only thing that would maybe make us groan is the like Mike was saying, more difficult ones to make. And I knew this one was going to be a little difficult, having so many ingredients, but it took a lot of scale up bench trials to figure out what ingredients we were going to use to make sure it was giving us all those right flavor profiles, because the cherry is probably one of the more difficult ones to find, and we found an actual Italian candied cherry, which was perfect, because Spumoni's an Italian American ice cream. It's actually my favorite ice cream. So
I remember last year, Mike, there was a lot of talk about in the Mon Cherie, which Cody referenced earlier, trying to find the right cherries. And to the layman, you go, well, Emily wants candy cherries. That shouldn't be hard. And finding cherries for another beer, that shouldn't be hard. And just finding that one ingredient has got to be at some point, sometimes a nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, once again, like the bourbon, different bourbons on our desks, if you go on the brewer's desk, if we use chocolate or cocoa nibs, they could have 15 or 20 different samples on their desk from all over the world, making sure they pick the exact one they need. And it just it goes back to being master blenders, master bartenders, where we know the ingredient base that we want, but there's so many choices once you get into it. Cherries is another example. Like, me being ignorant a few years ago, I was like, great, I'll just go get some cherries and throw it in my beer. No, they tried a handful of different cherries to make sure they got the right one, because it does impact the beer at the end of the day, and we want to make sure it's exactly what we know it can be.
Cody?
Yeah, Emily, I gotta say, of this beer, I'm from Rockford, where there's probably more Italian restaurants per capita than anywhere else in the country. And I had a fair amount of Spumoni growing up. And this legit takes me back to my childhood, but plus a bunch of alcohol. So really, there's no better beer I can think of. And you guys mentioned this is the Chicago exclusive, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which means you can only get it at venues in the limits of the city of Chicago, not in the suburbs, right?
You'll be able to get some in the suburbs. So Chicago
land,
extended, yeah,
Chicago land, yeah,
Chicago-ish,
but not Indiana.
No, forget that. Wait, screw the Hoosiers. They don't get any of the proprietors. They got to come over to Illinois, and then Smokey and the Bandit it back, over the line in a big semi truck.
Yep.
Now, all right, we've got one more that we're going to try, but I want to ask both Mike and Emily. These are where do you suggest people, if they're new to Bourbon County Stout and they score a bottle of whatever it is, whatever variant they get? These are not really beers that pair with food, correct? Where do you suggest people drink these, other than wherever they want? Is there an optimum kind of temperature of the beer, time, where you know what I'm saying? I've had a couple of tastes. You take it from here, Mike, Emily.
I would say, it does pair with food. Like Emily was saying, desserts are probably perfect with this. So I would pair this with some ice cream or some Spumoni ice cream next to some the same kind of beer. Brownies, cakes, I've had it next to. Any really rich foods, if you want to have it next to a steak, a burger, Thanksgiving dinner with gravy, turkey, like it works. But besides that, that's not my favorite. I like to, this is a beer to share with friends, one or a few, open it up on a cold night, start drinking it cold, let it warm up. And throughout the warming up of the beer, you're going to get new flavors and aromas that come out with it. So you be the judge on which you like, and if you like it cold or a little bit warm. But yeah, it's a sipper. Another reason I like this beer is you can't chug it. I mean, you could, but it slows down time. You can talk to your friends, have a good evening, and have a memory after it's done, and hopefully remember a little bit from it.
Emily, do you like it warmer, colder? How do you enjoy your BCS?
I like to call what I would call it hand temperature. So as you hold your snifter in your hand and it starts to warm up, that to me is the perfect temperature, especially if you're going to enjoy it outside and it's cold out. I also really like to pair it with a cigar. It has
Yeah,
a lot of
That's
similar
Yes.
similar
That's what I do.
nuances and flavors. Especially again if it's cold out, which it usually is when we have our
Yes.
prop day celebration. It's very cold out. This year
Last
we
year's
didn't
prop day
have
was
one, and it was
freezing.
68 degrees.
Yeah, this was. Yeah, I came down to pick mine up in shorts and a t-shirt. I was like, "This
Yeah.
is a prop day.
Oh,
This
well.
is, I got the windows down. I'm cranking music. I'm supposed to be layered up with mittens on, trying not to drop the glass."
there is a spot where I buy beer from, and they have their stouts in a separate fridge that's set a little bit warmer than the other ones. Would you say maybe it's good to pull out the Bourbon County stuff from your regular refrigerator for a few minutes before enjoying it, or really it's just kind of the whole range?
I'd say it's the whole range. I like to let mine warm up a little bit, but that's just me.
Cool.
If you drink it super cold, like 37 degrees right out of the fridge, it's fine. Everybody has their own like taste profile, but I think as you let it warm up, you're going to get a little bit more out of the beer personally. So to each their own, though.
Nice.
And before we get to the special number 4, let me ask you both this: Bourbon County Stout is one of these beers that collectors tend to go after, and then they put them downstairs. And I think Emily heard us joking about this before she joined us. That I try not to. I want to drink them when I get them, except that I'm like, oh, but then they'll be gone. So I try not to hold on to them for very long. This year, was I right, Emily? Is it new this year? The date on the bottle is not the bottled on date. It appears to be a drink by date. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I think we started that last year.
Okay.
I don't remember for sure, but it's really just a recommendation. I think it gives about 5 years. That's kind of our recommended length. Of course, you can keep it longer. I mean, if you look behind me, I'm in this room with basically a vertical from, when did that start? Oh, maybe 2005. So, I mean, you could keep them longer. They might not taste as they of course they won't taste as they did when they were fresh and new. But as far as where we think the best flavors will come out of it, we recommend 1 to 5 or 0 to 5 years, I guess. But
so they're ready to go right now. You don't have to.
Yes.
You don't have to.
And
age
a lot
these.
of the variants are kind of fun to save because they definitely change over time.
Okay.
So certain flavors fall off, certain flavors come forward. So those are fun if you do get your hands on more than one bottle to save them and try them each year and then see how they differ.
There's a couple bottles too that we changed it so there's a 2-year age statement, like the Spumoni ice cream. The special number 4 we're going to get into has a 2-year statement, just because the ingredients that are in them are going to drop off a little bit faster than the ones, other ingredients are not having ingredients. So you might miss out on some of those big notes if you don't drink it a little bit sooner.
All right. Well, let's get into special number 4 because I know Emily's got to go. She's brewing, so I'm sure they're like, "Hey, where
needs me."
Go? We got and Mike. I gotta admire you've been. They said, well, we don't know if Mike and Emily will be tasting along with you. Mike, good for you. You're going to town. That's what we're talking about. All right, let's get into the special number 4.
Yeah.
Why is it special, and what happened to specials 1 through 3?
Oh boy, I am going to get some heat at this from work tomorrow. But being on the marketing team, if I could jump on my soapbox real quick, it is hard to name a beer these days. There's over 9,000 craft breweries in North America, and if you think you have the perfect name for a beer, it's already been picked. So had to kind of go out aside, for a brunch stout or a breakfast stout, which this is definitely based off of. But special number 4 is, going to one of those breakfast joints, maybe in the wee hours of the morning after a night out, and they have hand you a laminated menu with 40 different breakfast specials, and then all the sides you can think of next to it, and saying, I'll just take special number 4, and it calls out the main 4 ingredients that we did in this beer. So it's a oatmeal based stout, so we changed up the mash bill in it a little bit creamier, sweeter. We then added 2 different types of coffee additions from our friends at Intelligentsia Coffee, straight cold brew and then roasted bean to it. And then we added some barrel-aged maple syrup from our friends out at Bissell Maple Farms out in Ohio to round it out. So 4 ingredients, special number 4, diner. That's my name thing. And specials 1, 2, and 3. Maybe you'll see one day. I don't know.
All right. It's you do get you guys always do one. There's always one variant with coffee, correct? Or am I just going back a few years? I always seem to remember there's one with coffee.
Yeah, coffee was one of our very first adjunct variants back in 2010, actually. And every year we used to do just different types of roasts of different coffee origin beans. And the last few years we've gotten out of that. And last year with the Cafe de Olla, it was a coffee cocktail that we went off. The year before that, we put coffee and barley wine, which is a different style of beer, kind of like the wheat wine was. And this year, not just going back to straight coffee, but we brought this breakfast idea to life. So in one way or another, coffee is very present in the base beer itself. So to bring it out and highlight it, especially with some of the great coffee that we have access to with Intelligentsia is really fun. And then to add the maple syrup, the oatmeal base change to make it a little bit creamier and have a good mouthfeel. It's awesome. I think that's what I've been drinking tonight. I think it's fantastic.
It's really good. Cody, you always love the coffee ones.
I do. This is interesting because it doesn't taste like a cup of coffee. Some coffee stouts will it's just full coffee.
Right, it's all coffee.
This you get a lot of that, but it's not so overpowering. So if you kind of like the flavor of coffee, but you want something that tastes a little more subtle than like a strong cup of coffee at 8 at night when you're enjoying a stout. That's at least my opinion. I don't know if you think I'm accurate.
No, you're right on. I mean, you get the coffee up front. It's got some great blueberry notes, I think, is what you'll get with it. And, blueberry pancakes. What am I talking about? But then it's got that nice, maple finish. That's where the sweetness kicks in. It's phenomenal. I love this beer.
How many bottles of maple syrup were on your desk trying to find the right maple syrup?
You don't want to know. No, just one.
Emily, does the maple syrup pull the flavor like the stout does? So it's because it is barrel-aged maple syrup. Are you getting that? We all know what maple syrup tastes like. Do you really get the bourbon feel and flavors from it after it's been in the barrel?
Yes, for sure. It definitely has a different flavor profile than just regular maple syrup. It's definitely more complex, has a lot. It does have that bourbon character. It's quite delicious.
Now, are you going to start selling that too, Mike, so that we can, I can look like I'm being a responsible person and just having pancakes for breakfast? And people, boy, he uses a lot of syrup. I don't understand it.
I hate to do a plug on this, but we do have some maple syrup from Bissell at the tap room in our Clybourne pub that has been aged in a used Bourbon County barrel. So if you want some Bourbon County barrel-aged maple syrup, check out our tap room. It's phenomenal. And yes, you will go through half a bottle in one sitting, and the whole family would be like, no more pancakes for you on the weekend, Dad.
Yeah, really. Dad, you got to settle down.
Are you guys going to start to offer a gym membership with some of these BCS bottles? Because, I mean...
Oh, boy. I think our fans are already chasing trucks store to store, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's there's a lot. Now, so people obviously cannot line up. And you guys have been very generous with your time, and we appreciate it. I want to ask this before we let you get back to work, Emily, and before we let Mike get back to whatever it is Mike does when he's not seeing
I got
brand
3 kids
managing.
Upstairs. I'm just taking a break right now. Appreciate it.
Now it's like asking a parent, what's your favorite kid? But let's say if you were telling somebody who's never had Bourbon County Stout before, and they were coming to it, and we'll say they're already getting a bottle of the original. From the other 6 variants, and Emily, I think I know where you're going to lean, but I'm going to put this out there. What other bottle would you say, okay, if you really want to know what this year's flight of Bourbon County Stouts is about, you have try the original, and here's the next one that you need to try. And
Emily, you want to go first?
Well, I'm not gonna pick my own. I'm not gonna do that.
But you know you want to, so we'll. All right.
Sure. I mean, yes, you should drink proprietors, but since not everyone can get it,
right? This is somebody from
else.
Michigan who's
I'll choose something that's a national brand. I would say if you really want to get, a full scope of what Bourbon County is about, then yes, if obviously have original, but I would also suggest trying wheat wine as well. So the Caramella, because that's a whole different spectrum of the flavor profile. And I think it would be, I mean, it's different, but fantastic. So
Now, does Joey owe you $20 for that plug?
you better.
Okay.
That's perfect.
And I would say you can't go wrong with any of them. So that makes a lot of sense because you're going the complete 180 from the original stout to try this other flavor profile. Mike, do you have an answer as educated as Emily's?
Yeah, I would say one of the barrel variants is really cool. The anniversary of the reserve next to it to just add what the difference of a barrel makes. But I will go a step beyond that for Emily, and I would say the proprietors this year. I think to have someone try the original and say try one where we put some adjuncts into it. I hope you guys get it. Once again, going back to like you can call these pastry stouts, but the way that we've balanced the flavors of Emily's Dream and made it come to life, like nothing overpowers the next thing. The base beer comes through, but you do get the cherry, you get the pistachio, you get the vanilla and the cocoa. So I think it's fantastic. And to go from just the original to showcase a variant like that would be really cool next step. And it's not going to overpower you if you're not a coffee fan or tea or, thing. So that's my educated guess right now.
Very nice. Now, Emily, did you push for them to call it Proprietors Blend parentheses Emily's Dream?
That'd be pretty great. I mean, it sort of says that on the box.
It does. It tells all about it. It tells the whole story. And the story, it's a fascinating story, the history of Bourbon County Stout and how this all started in 1992 with the first batch. Have either of you, is there any of that in existence? Have either of you gotten to try that original batch of Bourbon County Stout?
I haven't, but I think Emily behind you have one of the oldest packaged ones, so maybe we should just crack that open.
I was going to say, right? Emily, just turn around. Let's go.
I know. I have. We've got all of these.
Wow.
Do you think they'd be upset if you just turned around with a bottle opener and went, you know what? Let's try this. Let's see what's happening.
I mean, this is history back here. I don't want to mess with history. So.
And that's a gorgeous venue, the Barrel House.
Yeah, I feel like I'm inside a barrel right now. I figured this would be a great room.
It's very cool. Well, happy 10th anniversary of the Black Friday releases. It's another phenomenal run of the seven Bourbon County Stouts this year. It's you guys do it right every year. And again, the way you were able to pivot to get it to the fans, and people now will be able to get it safely where they usually get their Bourbon County Stout. So that's a huge thing. Emily, can you give us just a little hint of what you may be thinking of for January's escapades? Or are you waiting for it to come in a dream?
I'm going to have to sleep on that one.
Yeah. If you get 3, do they give you rings? Or you get what do you get?
I know. No, but that's okay.
A golden brewer's jacket.
I get a bottle for proprietors. So
well, that's
better than a ring.
That is better than a ring. Listen, Mike Smith, thank you so much for being here. He's a senior brand manager at Goose Island. He handles the Bourbon County Stout and the vintage portfolio. And Emily Kosmal, the brewer who came up with this year's Proprietors Blend. She works at the brew house. She's doing phenomenal stuff. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations again on another fantastic run of Bourbon County Stout. And, Cody and I will try to make it through the rest of the program.
And yeah, boy. And real quick, you guys, I really want to say thank you for giving so many people something to look forward to. Because to me, this release, like truly, and I'm not just blowing smoke. It's an event. Like I look forward to the hunt of trying to get my hands on a bunch, yes. Whether, whoever it's from, and being able to sit down at home and enjoy this with my wife or have one friend socially distant over. It's been a tough year for everybody. And there's so many things you can't do this year, but this you can do. You can sit at home, you can enjoy a really delicious Bourbon County Stout and not have to drive anywhere, which is nice and safe.
That's the best part.
So I'm, just thanks for, all the work that you guys do. It is awesome that everybody gets to enjoy some Bourbon County Stout this winter. So
often imitated, never duplicated. Nice job, guys.
There you go. Thank you, guys. Cheers so much. Be safe. To all the fans, good luck hunting this year. I hope there's some lottery winners that are listening tonight. And yeah, thanks for having us. Hopefully we can drink all together soon in the barrel where Emily's at. Maybe crack that beer early next year or something.
I hope so. And Emily, good luck on the three-peat.
Yeah, right.
Take care,
All
guys.
right.
Thanks again.
All right,
Thanks a
cheers. Have a
lot.
good night.
Cheers.
Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Wow, that was fun. And there's Craig. Just
That's
in time,
Craig
Craig. We can't really we won't be able to talk much anymore. You know,
presumably sober, more sober than us, Craig Collins.
That's fine.
yeah. This was Craig, I know you're not a, you're a natty light guy, and there's room in the world for natty lights.
There is.
But as Cody said, this is something that it has become a big deal over, like when it first was starting, I was like, oh, okay. I kind of knew about, and then the more I got into it, it's like, man, that's a big deal.
Hi, Cindy, by the way.
Such good stuff.
Yeah, it seems really good. You guys seem like you've been having a real good time.
Brian, this proprietor's blend is legit, and I'm sorry if you don't live in the Chicago area. This proprietor's blend is one of the best beers I've ever had. I honestly, I think the birthday stout is pretty much tied. They're both 5 out of 5.
Yeah, there's
so
the 4 that we had.
They're all good, but
I can't. Yeah, the proprietor. See, I always say the original is the one that I take out of the mix. You almost have to take proprietors out of the mix too, because I haven't had a bad proprietor.
I don't know if you can take it out of the mix. That just sounds crazy to me.
Craig,
I mean, you might, but I don't know.
Craig's here from the bunker. Hi, Craig.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Both of you
What's going
trolls,
on?
did you notice anything different about my set?
No.
I see a bass trap.
No, I see nothing different. It seems like you changed
You don't see
nothing.
anything different?
Two
Kidding, Noonan.
That seems so mean.
2 4-foot-tall bass traps stacked on top of each other, floor to ceiling. Hang on, let me move my notes. Well,
Hi,
I gotta
Janice.
pick this up. Look at that.
That's
Floor
amazing.
To ceiling. Yeah, I built them.
Damn, Cody, man.
My first woodworking project. I built them. I used a skill saw. Thanks, Roger. I used a table saw. Thanks, Dad. I used a power sander. Thanks, Dad. I used a staple gun. Thanks, Dad. And I used a bunch of other tools I didn't know the names of, but I had some probably from Roger.
He's like doing an award acceptance speech
really.
right now.
I want to thank the pliers and my entire team of hammer and screwdriver.
Everybody
Thank
at
you.
Walmart
You're welcome.
and at
Before I
Menards.
forget, I would be remiss if I did not thank the level that and the straight edge, because they were very important.
I do want to point out before we
ahead.
go any further, Cody, you know what I look like when we started. Look how red my cheeks have gotten from drinking this Bourbon County Stout.
So Brian, I was going to ask you about that. So I've capped the 4 bottles because we got full bottles of these. I've capped them, and I feel like I should stop drinking and enjoy them later. But they're so good, I kind of also want to keep drinking. So what do you advise, and what are you going to do?
Shotgun all of it.
Wow. I joked with Debbie and Molly when I carried up the 4 bottles.
I don't know why is that a question? Shotgun it all now, Cody.
Well, he'd be dead.
Okay, kill yourself in the quarantine cast. Let's do it.
I said to Debbie, if I drink all 3 of these, I'm going to be dead.
Yeah.
Because they're all over 13% alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, these are not for the timid.
Let me see what my margarita in a can is.
Is that what you got?
Just to check. Yeah, I have. Yeah. So I figured I'd be fancy with you guys. So I went big, and I got the Cape Line margarita in a can.
You can tell Betty's out of town. He's spending like a drunken sailor, going out buying himself a few things.
It's just 6 simple ingredients and nothing artificial, and it is gluten free, as it says on the can. So there you go.
Craig, I really desperately wanted you to come up here to Lombard and visit.
You know you did.
And me,
I don't want to kill everyone.
But dude, the last week, I feel I don't want anyone to be around anyone in my family ever.
Yep.
Like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
We're so bad. Is it bad by you?
It's bad everywhere. It's getting bad
so
everywhere.
bad.
The world is bad. The world is on fire.
So bad. Like we were gonna have my parents over for Thanksgiving, just them, because we literally don't leave the house. And even now, even with them, I'm kind of like they're like, well, I don't know. We saw your sister last week. Who knows? Everyone we know
Who knows?
have COVID.
I'm proud of this show and the transitions we take often, but to go from drinking beer and having fun to it's bad everywhere,
Yeah.
that is an intense move.
Well,
You know the
wanted
only
to
thing
see
that's making
you-
it better? Right here, baby.
Right.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Thank you.
brother.
Cheers.
Cody's suddenly having a bad trip on his alcohol. It's
No,
going
dude,
dark.
Craig, it's because I want to see you because Brian brought up Betty being gone.
Mhm.
And we know that you're just sitting at home by yourself drinking mango Ritas out of a can.
It is a margarita. It's not
mango.
mango.
Rita.
Is
I
it
know
really?
you-
Yeah.
I know you've
I mean,
been
it says
broadcasting-
margarita in a can, but
Yeah.
really,
It
I
doesn't
know
really
you've
taste like a
been
margarita.
broadcasting for the last
Of course it
hour
doesn't.
by yourself just to like kind of get your gears all lubed
I
up
was.
for
Yeah.
this show.
Mhm.
But
I'm not going to see you. I'm not going to visit. I wanted to visit too, but it's not going to happen because it's a scary time. It's a weird 13% alcohol. There will be a hard stop to this episode. That is absolutely true, Alex.
I'm enjoying
I'm
a little
about
more.
to do it alone.
The Carmela is a 14.6.
There you go.
And it is delicious. It tastes like a caramel apple. If a caramel apple needed to go to rehab,
I'll have a little bit of, I'll have a little bit more Carmella, I think.
here's the problem. I only have 2 wine stoppers. So
Oh my God. I can't even handle you guys. I only have 2 wine stoppers. This is the stupidest beer conversation. Come on.
Craig, you can't drink the whole bottle.
I
Craig, check
don't
out this
want-
wine stopper.
I don't know. Stop it. That's
You
pretty
do it
cool, I
this
guess.
way?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm aware of what that is.
What's this, Craig?
Is it the sword of He-Man?
It's the Master Sword from Zelda. What is wrong
Looks
with
like
you?
He-Man. That looks like the
It
He-Man
does
sword.
not look like
I don't know what
He-Man.
it is. I don't know. Never mind. I will say this about you guys though. Like this is too fancy.
No.
You got to go from one fancy to I mean, Goose Island, great place. Grab a few there, and then shift to their like lower end stuff. That's how you do an evening, and then you can finish everything.
Oh no, I drink the regular Goose Island. This is an event. This is Black Friday. This is the mid-November to the winter. It's fantastic.
We need the beer people back on. You shouldn't have opened everything. You should have opened a couple things and then drank a bunch of the like 5% stuff. That's how we do this evening.
You know what they made this year? Easy, Phil Donahue. I see you have your hand up. They made a Sox Golden Ale this summer that was phenomenal.
Right.
It was so good. The White Sox Ale during the summer was great from Goose.
Wait, was it really? I kept seeing it in the
Yes.
stores, and then I was like, I don't know what this is because it didn't actually say what kind of beer it was. It was just like White Sox beer, and I'm like, I
No,
don't
it
know
was,
what that
it was
means.
like a golden ale, and it was really, really good.
Ah,
So
shit.
we don't always drink the fancy beers, Greg.
I know.
Once a year, and then we board them like psychopaths.
I refuse to buy a wine stopper for beer. It's just not me. I'm not going to do
buy
it.
for the beer.
No,
They're
I don't
full
care.
Wine. They just happen to be in the house. But since, if you guys were all here, I wouldn't need the wine stopper. But yes, Cody.
Craig has a point. You are supposed to start with the expensive alcohol and then work your way down to the cheaper alcohol.
Hammered. Yeah.
That's how they did it in ancient Greece.
Well, theoretically, we did because you and I were on, and then we brought Craig in. So we went
I'm the cheap alcohol.
to the cheap
Hey.
alcohol.
Hey, there we go.
No,
Fill
but
the spot of the show.
With this can of margarita, which I'm sure his wife who is in Mexico probably drinking fantastic margaritas.
Oh, yeah.
would just look at him and go, ugh.
Yeah, this is 4.5% alcohol per volume, so it's not a real margarita at all.
Uh-uh, not at all. I'm sorry if I brought up some goldfish because I knew from past experience
Smart.
that if from having Bourbon County Stouts before and being at tastings and things, that it's probably good to have a little something.
Mhm.
And Molly said, "What are you bringing those goldfish upstairs for?" I said, "Well, because after we have the tasting with the folks from from Goose Island, I'm probably going to need a little something." And
Yeah.
she's like, "Well, that tiny bowl of goldfish isn't going to do you any good." Fine, bring me up a steak.
So your daughter's home, is it for the Thanksgiving holiday?
Oh boy.
I don't know what's happening. I would not skip that episode, by the way. You guys get a steak expert on. I'll stay in for that.
Okay.
Yeah, we
I
just got to
ask
go
a
that road.
question? What happened?
Huh?
What? No, that you didn't ask a question. So it was some puppet asked a question.
That's fine. Puppet
Yes.
asking questions, too.
Molly
I'm gonna-
and Walter came home a week early.
Uh-huh.
Walter,
I think
does Craig know who Walter is?
Walter is my grand pup.
I know.
He is a Chiweenie.
Nice.
He's a Chihuahua Dachshund mix.
Nice.
And he is 12 pounds of ferocious.
That sounds ferocious. You know, I kind of feel like a kindergarten teacher right now. I got to be honest with both of you guys. I kind of feel like I just wandered in to kindergarten just after playtime, and I have to be here now for the last half of the show.
No, you can, what do you want to do?
I'm happy to be here. It's fine. I'm just realizing at the moment.
Craig, give us a topic.
Okay. What do you guys want to talk about?
Time out. What do you want me to do?
Hold on.
Everything's
if
fine.
I say, Craig, give us a topic, and then you say, what do you guys want to do? That's the opposite of you giving us a topic.
You're right. That is the opposite of me giving you a topic.
I taught kindergarten. That's not how you do it.
Yeah, Brian has taught a lot of kindergarten classes because he used to talk about them on WGN Radio.
Take control, Craig.
All right.
Think, Cody and I are throwing crayons at each other, and I'm picking my nose and wiping it in somebody's hair, and somebody's crying, and Cody wet himself. Mm-hmm. So you got to come in and take control.
I think I would just let all that play out. I think that's the hard knocks of life, and I'd be the kindergarten teacher that lets you get your hair pulled for a bit.
Wait, did you just say you're producing a Broadway production of Annie with the Hard Knock Life?
Apparently, yeah.
Hard Knock Life.
I hope they would sing.
Wow, I'm doing show tunes. You can tell I'm enjoying the Bourbon County stuff.
Yes, I can.
I warned you about this. This is not a surprise. You should not be shocked.
If you could drive a car as fast as you absolutely wanted, no, hold on. If you could drive it as fast as you wanted, would you want to do that in a contained environment like a NASCAR track, or would you want to do it on like the open road? If you had just one shot, like as fast as you can drive any vehicle on this planet, I wouldn't want to do it in a contained environment. I don't think that'd be as much fun. I think if you were going to go nuts, I'd want like fast car, open highway.
Is there other traffic around?
Yes.
Ooh.
I have an answer for you, Craig.
Go ahead.
Iowa 80. I used to drive 5.5 hours between.
We raised our hand when we answer in this class.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not going to call on him. It's the hard knock of life.
It doesn't matter. He didn't say anybody has to call on me. They just said I had to raise my hand. Iowa 80. I drove 5.5 hours from Rockford to Des Moines, Iowa for college. And there wasn't so much you could pretty much go as fast as you wanted because there was never too much traffic. There were always a lot of cars, but you could certainly go really, really fast. So yeah, I would choose I-80. Where did you go to college, Craig?
Where did I go to college?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is awkward. This is very interesting now. The Autobahn, 80 miles per hour. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't care about any of it. The Autobahn is
the fastest you've ever driven a car, Craig.
100.
All right, now ask me how fast I've ever driven a car.
I don't care. Noonan, what would you do? Would you go on a highway or would you go in a contained environment?
I have done this on a 2-lane country road, which is where I enjoyed doing it. I was
nice.
Back a while ago when I was a big shot.
Yes.
I was given a car for a couple days.
Wait,
from a car dealership.
When was this? When were you a big shot?
Probably when you bailed on the show and took off, and I went to unbelievable.
Oh, let's do this. What's the worst thing about the other person? Brian, what do you dislike most about Cody? And Cody, what do you dislike most about Brian? Let's do it right now.
How red his face turns when he's had
so
Bourbon County Stout.
I just found the rhythm of this show.
I feel like I'm a thermometer, and you've been holding a lighter to me. And
I
soon it's gonna explode.
I can't wait till we all wake up tomorrow and you guys have fighting words. Let's do it.
I'm not fighting. I was just giving back a little something.
Yeah, Cody. Cody, remember when you stopped showing up to the radio show you guys do together? That was mean.
I'm sorry, what?
Hold on. I texted Brian, and our boss texted him, but someone told Brian ahead of time before I stopped showing up.
I wouldn't know you guys if Cody had stayed on the show.
That's true.
Christy Bott got married, and that's how I got the first fill-in shift with Noonan. Cody did not get married the same weekend as Christy Bott, so who knows if I would have got a fill-in shift.
That's true. The Christy Bott had left, and then when Cody had his walkout, as we like to call it, Christy came back for a short amount of time, but she goldfish.
Noonan's dying.
There's a goldfish caught in my throat. Yeah. She was getting married, so she took some time off, and that's when you came in.
Right. If Cody wasn't a horrible, selfish person, I wouldn't know you guys at all.
Yeah.
Well.
Cody?
Sure.
Okay. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That way.
No, I'm kidding. I was trying to light the fire again.
I know you're right. Instigator. What was that song by Informer, Instigator? What you got to pop pop? That bad 80s or 90s rap rock song.
We have to do this.
This is awesome.
Yeah,
This is
let's
the
all
best show we've ever
let's
done.
all sing a song we sort of know from memory and see what listeners can get.
Listen, gentlemen, I wish I could share these goldfish with you because they are flavor burst, not the regular goldfish. You got to go flavor burst.
Your song sounded like The Entertainer from Billy Joel. That's the only thing I was hearing.
Nothing like that. No, hold on.
I am the entertainer.
No, Snow is the guy who did this. Snow did Informer.
No, that's fine.
That's the one I played. Now we can't play it here because copyright and what.
Yeah.
But yes, it's Informer by Snow. That's the song I was parodying. I'm like the Weird Al Yankovic of this.
Oh, here we go.
No.
That was American Pie.
Yeah, it sounded like it. Yeah, that's where I was going with that. Let's let it hang again.
Put it out there. Hello, everybody.
My package is shipped. That's very exciting.
Order.
Hold on, Craig. Hold on, Craig. We're the drunk ones, and you're the cool guy, and you're like, my package.
The notification.
Very cool. You know how I know he's cool? Margaritas in a can.
There we go. The notification popped up on my computer. I wanted to, Cody, let me ask you a judge's ruling. Noonan knows the story already. I would like to know from you though.
Okay.
Did I discover a life hack? That's the question.
Ever or
no? Currently, I have. I probably have. Right. I think I've discovered one. So we talked last week about my dishwasher being all broken and terrible. Yes. I think that Noonan and a couple of the listeners said I should clean it out, all the water that was in it, using towels. And then Noonan made the joke that I should burn all those towels, which I did. I did every part of that process. The towels are gone. I bought some new ones for myself for the house. Huh? What's that?
Listening to me may not be the way to go.
That's fine. I'm happy they're gone because it smelled atrocious. So I bought some new towels for the house. I bought 6 fancy towels for the missus. And Noonan, you thought that was way too many?
Well, if they're just for your lovely bride, 6 towels is a lot for one individual. My wife and I have 4 towels for the 2 of us. And
you never have them all dirty at the same time?
No, we have some old towels, the past fancy towels that we keep as spares just in case, God forbid. But I use a towel for a week, maybe.
Nice. There you go. Well, so
just hang it out. It dries.
I also got some cheaper ones for me because I don't like the fancy ones all the time. I like to go cheaper. So I got 6 additional ones. Hers cost a lot of money. Mine were like $10 for all 6. I found out that they're like car wash detailing towels. So they're not human-sized bath towels. They're very, very different, very plush, but I used them anyway, Cody. I took a shower. I dried myself off. Yeah, I ShamWowed myself after, and I got to tell you, I was the driest I've ever been. It was so great. I'm going to keep the towels. I'm going to keep these little miniature things, and I'm just going to car detail myself after every shower.
Are you using body wash or wax? What are you? A fine Canuba? What do you use to clean the dirt off you, Cody?
I would love to wax myself. Go ahead, Cody.
But what was the life hack?
I think that's a better move than a bath towel. I think you should use a car detailing, a tiny little towel after a shower.
Rather than a towel, and he thinks that makes him,
Yeah. It's a microfiber edgeless cleaning towel that's designed to be a car washing, drying, and detailing towel. And I think that this is what we should all be doing after shower because it's lovely. I did it again today. I did it before the QuarantineCast. I feel wonderful.
Back because when I dry my back, I hold the towel with 2 hands and I do this move.
I kind of just fling it back.
What? Slap yourself like
you're just a little bit, right?
Paying penance like you're one of those monks who used to put barbed wire and then lash themselves.
It's almost exactly like that, but the loveliness of a microfiber towel at the end,
like in the Human Centipede 3.
Wow!
Oh, don't act like you didn't see it, Craig. We all know you saw it.
He was an extra in it.
Did I find a life hack though, Cody, or no? He doesn't want to answer. I think I found a life hack. I think
let me tell you it. Let me counter that. One time I went to a national Super Smash Brothers Melee tournament at a church in Indiana. I'm not making this up.
Okay.
2007, 2008. Melee FT Diamond. And it was at a giant church, and there were like 200 gamers there. Mewtwo King was there. PC Chris was there. I met them both. or I didn't, but I saw them.
Do we know who those are?
Doesn't matter. I didn't bring a towel. So when I showered,
Not only do we not know who they are, Newton, he lied about meeting them to people
Right,
that
he
have
didn't
no idea. He's like, I met him. No, I didn't.
when I showered, I believe I didn't bring a towel because I like what? Who brings a towel to a church? So I didn't. So I believe, if I recall correctly, I dried myself off with toilet paper from the stalls because there were no paper towels. Because
Stop, hold on.
You can get
I'm
little
sorry.
pieces everywhere.
This story is, first of all, why in God's name were you taking a shower in the bathroom of a church?
Because
What is going
tournament.
What kind of weird religious lawsuit are you trying to uncover now? What suppressed memory are you digging out from underneath the blocks of this church to finally say, I was at they told me it was a gaming convention and I found myself in the stall of a bathroom wiping myself off with toilet paper.
He's just never played Smash Brothers, Cody. I mean, obviously you're going to have to shower halfway through.
Everyone there showered at the church, and so did I discover.
Wait, hold on, stop. You just hit Noonan's point. Everyone at the church took a shower together. Now there's a huge problem. Now this is a lawsuit.
Not at the same time. There were stalls,
and there were no towels.
Get the phone. It's the Vatican.
Yeah, right.
What church stocks towels?
This is toilet paper for everybody after the shower.
Yeah, who's handing out the toilet paper? Is there an old man in there going, you boys look damp. Here's some Charmin. It's too high.
This is a cult. This was not a Smash Brothers tournament.
Did I discover a life hack? Well, did I discover a cult or a life hack? Craig, you tell me.
Pokemon 2 was there. I don't know what he'd go to.
I didn't meet Pikachu, but I saw him.
Mewtwo King and PC Chris. They're Smash Brothers champions. Chime in the chat if you know about Mewtwo King and PC Chris.
The chance of anyone knowing who those are is a full zero. I guarantee you.
It's
no one.
Out of something.
Maureen says who showers in a church. That's exactly right, Maureen. This story has
I don't bring a towel.
Right, because you don't expect to shower in church. I've been going to church since I was a wee lad. Not once did I feel the need to go, you know what, I need a loofah right here. Pardon me, Padre. I got to get the back. Nging, 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 nging. Oh, I didn't bring a fluffy towel. Oh, there's Craig in the other pew. He's got a ShamWow. Come here and wipe my undercarriage.
You would be so dry, by the way. The ShamWow, it totally is a life hack.
I would hope I was dry. If I submitted to that kind of humiliation, I damn well better be dry.
Craig, my question is, where did you said you literally burned a towel.
I mean, I was kidding about it. I just threw it out. I threw out all because they were old towels, and they smelled atrocious because I'm pretty sure that dishwasher never drained liquid and we barely ever used it because Betty would almost always do it by hand. So I think I've used it like 3 times, and I think it was all the water from three uses over the course of a year. So then those towels had to go.
Yeah, you got Ooh, ew.
So when you said literally, you meant not literally.
Here he goes with the figuratively. Where'd I go to school? Thank you for that, buddy.
Where did you go to school?
I'm just done.
School of Hard Knocks, baby.
I did.
Now ask me where I went to school.
I don't care. I still don't want to know.
Oh, he went to Drake University. Home of the Drake Relays.
I don't think that's true. I don't know what he studied.
You see this bottle of Bourbon County South Rioters blend? Do you see this?
No.
One bottle topper?
Hang on.
It's the Drake Bulldog.
Oh, they make a Drake Bulldog wine stopper?
They do. Well, it's actually for whiskey or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Why are you impressed, Noonan?
I have to put these in the fridge. Can you two talk amongst yourselves?
Once in a while, Craig.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Fridge up.
Let him get all excited about it.
Yeah, and I gotta refill this water because unlike some people here, I'm gonna switch to water.
Okay.
Which people aren't switching to water, brother? I'm always got agua, por favor.
Nice Rolling Stones cup. Craig, did we give you yours back?
No. I don't think so.
We haven't. We're holding it for you.
I got Dr. Pepper. I don't have the Soda Stream this time.
Greg gave me this cup.
Yeah, I did. I got it out for him.
It's filled with beer when he gave it to me. Now it's filled with water. Cody.
To be fair, though, you gave me the ticket to that concert.
I didn't want to bring that up. I was just listen. Let people think that you were a generous guy. Bought me
No,
a
I
beer.
was not. I think that halfway through, you're like, how do I pay you back? Just buy me beer. Yeah, that's fair.
Hey,
It's totally a fair trade.
What am I going to
Right.
say? I need cash right now.
Craig, is the towel objectively, like in every way, undeniably better than using?
Hold on, I'm gonna go get it. You're gonna. I'll go first. I'll get a towel. I'll come back.
All right, go get
and
one of
you'll-
your chamois, and then bring a bucket of water to see how much water it absorbs.
Okay.
Cody, I'm starting to wonder if we made a mistake with Craig. He eats out of pots. He uses chamois as towels.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's married anymore. I
You
think
know what's weird?
I think where he's broadcasting from is like a storage locker with an extension cord. I don't even know if he has a home anymore.
I have notes.
What kind of notes?
I wrote that the birthday Bourbon County Stout was a 5 out of 5. It was just, unbelievable.
Okay.
But after drinking the proprietors and then going back to the birthday, the proprietors is so good.
Proprietors is
It's
unparalleled.
my god, we did an hour on the beer.
it is next
Craig,
level.
You're
Like,
lucky that Cody switched because I was starting to call your entire existence into question. I don't believe anymore that you actually share a home with Betty. I think you're now living in a storage locker for a man who eats out of pots and dries himself in door chamois.
Yeah.
So you have a big extension cord, and somehow you've moved all your electronic and broadcast equipment into some. You're at like the store and save lot somewhere on the skirts of McLean County, where you got some, first and last month free, and now you're just living in a storage locker.
Yeah, I'm worried they're gonna figure that out at some point. I wish you hadn't mentioned it. That's why the curtain is up too. Actually,
Yes, the curtain is the perfect disguise.
Yeah,
I'm not
let me show you this towel.
Oh, good Lord. What is he doing?
Let me show
he's
you
showing us his towel.
No, he's showing us that he graduated from
Here.
a university.
No, I know. He just said it was a towel. This is my graduation diploma.
Wow, there's a lot of skids on there. Maybe you should wipe before you take a shower.
Hold on, this is clean. This isn't. I haven't used this one.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't used this one at all.
Is that described wherever you ordered your towels from? And
Amazon.
I think the fact that you thought that was a towel is calling into question how luxurious and fancy the towels you bought Betty are.
Okay, they're very. I can get those.
That.
Do you want me to prove? I'll go get one of those.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
All right, let's do this.
Cody has more notes about beer.
What? No, I don't. That was it. I'm just saying, after I had the proprietors blend, it's like, then I had some of the anniversary again, and I was like, this is still good, but it's not even like the proprietors this year
Is phenomenal.
It's just
I have-
unreal.
I have to find a way to get some original.
Well, I've got a couple, so I didn't want to share it on the quarantine cast because I don't want people to, beat me to the lottery. But there's a couple places selling a bunch of packages of all the varieties online, and they're doing it in the next week or so. So you can Google it, you can find it without too much trouble. But I'm not going to give away my secrets here.
Now let's see. What do you have a brand on that? Is it a Field Crest? Is it an UGG?
It's something.
What kind of towel is that? Is
It
it
is
a
an-
Martha Stewart?
HL.
HL, sure, HL.
Yeah, these guys. Amon linen, 100% Turkish cotton towels.
Wow, Turkish cotton is the best kind of cotton. I
Is
bought
it?
Armenian cotton towels once. They sucked. Never go with Armenian cotton. Always, if you get a chance, Egyptian #1, Turkish
Okay.
#2, Swaziland, surprisingly, third best cotton, bar none. Don't at me.
This is fancy because this is the alternative. So this is a very fancy towel
It is
comparatively.
That is now. Are you going to do what I said and wash that before Betty comes home so it's absorbent when she first takes?
No, because I think it works just the same. And I think that she should definitely ShamWow herself too, because that's a really good move for a lot of us.
Well,
No?
I want to be there when you make that pitch, Betty. Here's the thing. I have two options for you. Option A
Yeah.
is a lovely Turkish cotton fluffy.
Right. The best, according to Noonan.
Is a chamois that I've been using to buff my undercoat. I suggest you go with this because I am, as you can see, I am dry as a bone and I have a luxurious showroom shine.
What is Turkish cotton? Turkish cotton is a premium long fiber cotton grown exclusively in certain regions. This is much like the Egyptian cotton. The long fibers yield stronger and smoother threads.
That's right.
There we go.
Point of order.
go
Point of
ahead.
order. Cody and Craig is alliteration, but there's no alliteration for Brian. So the quarantine cast should be Quarantine Cast with Brian, Betty, Cody, and Craig.
Oh, there we go. Betty will do the show.
Okay.
We'll get her in. She's in Mexico right now. I don't know if you've heard.
That would be great.
Yeah, she's not
It
available
doesn't
next
have the
week.
same ring to it. Quarantine Cast with Brian, Mexico, Cody, and Craig. It's not going to happen.
I would love to add an international level to this program.
Yeah.
Because
The internet's
right now it smacks too Midwest for me.
the internet's not great in the location she's in, so I'm not sure that she'll have a high quality connection with us.
I was going to say that doesn't surprise me, but that seems like I could get in trouble for saying it.
No,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
it's a
it would.
tiny little town in
It's a
Mexico.
rural area.
Yeah. She was asking.
Internet's not great in rural areas here in the U.S. Rural.
Rural.
You meant figuratively,
Betty's gonna
Brian.
love that
That's
style.
not literally. You dumbass.
Wait,
Right? No, I was quoting Cody again. You know what? Can I? I'm just
you a
gonna.
dumbass.
No, I'm gonna air some grievances. I want to air a grievance.
Not even Festivus, but go ahead.
I'm gonna air one, and it's not even fair because it's not even targeting Cody. It's going after
You
Casey.
didn't comment that Cody and I were very dressed up tonight, but go ahead.
I hadn't noticed. Can I go after Casey for a second too?
Oh, I'm out.
It's scary. It's very scary.
why
Both
would-
of them do this, Noonan. They both correct language. There was a time where I was putting pool balls on a pool table, and I said like there's a lot or something. And Casey said that I had to say like few. She changed the word because one word I don't even remember what I used didn't mean numbers. It's now it's both of you. Now you're both after my language.
Okay, I'm out of that conversation.
Let
Do you
me
do
go
this
get-
to each
Cody
other?
was a cunning
The reason-
Let me go
The
get
reason to bring it up.
If
Hold on. The reason to bring it up. Yeah, please. Do you do it to each other? Do you guys correct each other's vocabulary?
no, because we have good vocabulary.
Boom.
Oh,
And he got up and he left. He actually mic dropped.
I know he did.
Left the
He
seat.
did. He did.
Wow.
It does happen. I don't know. If you understood the point I was trying to make, does it matter what words I used?
Nope. Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Does it? Does it, Noonan?
I judge people who use words incorrectly. Now,
Do you?
I will not get into if you were to say I got in the 15 item or less line, I'm not going to correct you and say, well, technically it should be fewer. But you know, but if you are sending me a letter and you use the wrong your, there, or
Oh, wait,
something
hold-
like that,
Yes.
then I'm
Not
going
all.
to say, this man's
Hold on.
not
Not all grammar sins are the same, right? And not all platforms are the same because if I'm doing it via the text, you should just assume that maybe it was my phone that made the mistake and not me. Okay, good.
Text.
But
Text I forgive a lot.
Yeah, I think that some grammar mistakes are more important than others. I got corrected on my own show by a listener for saying a word incorrectly and how I pronounce it. Do we remember this?
There's a lot of words that you pronounce creatively. I'm going to say creatively. See,
Really?
come at you. I didn't listen. I didn't attack. Everybody's different. You know.
Yeah, I play by my own rules.
Sure,
I guess.
you're a man who marches to his own drum beat.
Etc. Just it hits better for me. Etc. The extra X in there just makes it feel better.
Sure. You brought up the Christie bot earlier. She used to be infuriated if somebody said milk instead of milk.
Well, it is milk.
It's milk.
It's milk.
It's
a pillow.
No, it's a pillow.
No, it's a pillow.
No, it's
It is.
P-I-L-L.
You know where I'm from? I'm from the East Coast.
I
Noonan.
don't care.
Why?
Because
Why?
I teach children how to read, and the letter I makes two sounds, I and I.
Guess what? I can still read that word, even though I say it different, and you understood what I meant when I said it. I can still read it too.
Because one of my brothers always said crayon, and I was like, you know you're an idiot, right? No, it's crayon. There's a Y and an O in there. It's crayon. No, it's crayon. No, crayon is in front of apple or berry. Crayon is what comes in a 64 pack with the pencil sharpener in the back.
I just don't care. I just don't. If you said a word and I understood it, that's enough for me.
Peter, you have to care.
No, I don't.
It's in the contract.
I think if people comprehend the point I'm trying to make, even if the word is mispronounced, it's okay. We can all live a little.
Question.
Did you go and change?
I brought
He
a
did.
topic.
Oh, he went out to his topic locker and
Okay.
found one. Hold
How
on,
do
let me go to the topic locker.
How do we feel about fleets?
Oh, why? Why do we have them? Why does every social media platform have to be exactly the same?
We are, Cindy.
I don't like stories. I don't like stories on Facebook. I don't like the story. I tried one story last week on Instagram. I couldn't figure out what to do. I know it screwed it up. Thank God they disappear. I'm like, listen, I'll post on Instagram. I'll do my Facebook thing. Nobody cares about your story.
So for those who don't know, and Cindy, no, we're no longer talking about grammar.
That's all I'm
We're here
talking
to
about.
talk about grandpa. Back to the story. Fleets are basically Instagram stories, but on Twitter. So you know how Snapchat existed, then Facebook, then Instagram was like, let's have Snapchat stories. Then Facebook was like, let's have Facebook stories. Now Twitter's doing it. It's annoying. It's too much content. I don't have enough time to manage my brand. I did one for tonight for the Goose Island thing, but that was about it. Craig, you're not a big Twitter power user, are you?
I'm on it to pull things. I get audio and stuff from it, but I don't
What are you pulling
audio.
You pulling tail on there?
Yeah, that did no
You're
audio
dating on Twitter?
No, I use it as a generation of content service and not necessarily a social media platform.
A whole generation, huh?
Cody from Twitter. It's just a picture of him holding a birthday stout.
No, I downgraded to Goose Island Natural Villain Garage Style Ale.
Ooh,
that sounds really good.
It's not bad. It has been in my garage fridge for like 6 months, and I just keep moving it and not drinking it. And then I was like, you know what? I've had some really good fancy Goose Island beers. I'll have their garage style beer now.
Yeah,
finally.
I'm not going to bow to Craig's pressure. I'm going to keep keep drinking this Carmella.
You sure you can't get the wine stopper out of it?
No, the other ones have wine stoppers in it. The Carmella doesn't have one, so I got to drink it.
That's awesome.
I have to use like saran wrap or something to plug it up.
Tinfoil?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
That's how I go.
What are your chamois? You know what's funny? You know what's underneath my microphone to keep it from vibrating?
What's that?
A ShamWow.
Nice.
Honest to goodness, ShamWow. I had one in the basement, and I was like, I need something under the microphone to keep it from jumping around and making noise. And so that's...
See, that would dry you perfectly after a shower or a bath. You'd be completely dry afterward.
Wow. Oh, Karen says her sister said crayon, too, when it came to crayons.
Yes.
I heard what you said, Craig. I just refuse to acknowledge it. I am not a hobo. I don't live in a boxcar. I don't live in a storage locker that I've made look like a broadcast bunker.
Yeah.
I live in a home. So I'm gonna use a towel.
That's okay. It's each their own.
Listen, the towels. When Debbie brought these towels home, I was furious because she's like, "Oh, I got these towels on sale. They're UGG," and I'm like, "What is that? So those are boots? What? No, they're really good." And for the first 4 times I used them, all they did was smear the water. You know why? They hadn't been washed enough. Washed and dried. I love them.
And now they're okay. I just want to check in.
Towels ever.
Oh, look, I'll use towels, etc., to clean myself, and I'll see how that goes.
Maureen wonders, Cody, if you got that beer from the same fridge that you did not offer me a beer from.
Yeah, Brian, why didn't you just drink this when you stopped by that one time?
Because I don't just grab a beer out of somebody's refrigerator. I wait for a host to be kind and say, "Hey, it's 95 degrees out. I just showed you all the beer I have. Would you like one?"
Brian.
Yeah.
I have. So actually last week, I thought a lot about that incident. I'm serious.
Why would you spend last week ruminating on something that happened months ago that you know I was just busting your hump about?
Because I was trying to figure out why I wouldn't have offered you a beer, and I did figure it out.
Oh, I'm interested to hear this.
I figured it out because I knew or thought I knew that you would say no. And even so, I was wrong. But even like rejection is not a thing I take well. We're all enraged. None of us take rejection well, right? This is a personality. This is one thing we all share in common, right?
Okay.
Like none of us are good at that. Okay. None of us like being
rejected. First of all, absolutely not. On a hot Sunday afternoon, I will always accept a beer.
Didn't know that. But Brian, the reason I thought you would turn it down is because it was amid all the COVID stuff and you were so careful and blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking like, he's not going to want to reach his hand into my fridge. That was it. So I just assumed your answer was no. And so it was like, I was thinking like of saying something along the lines of, well, I'd offered you a beer, but I know you wouldn't say yes. But instead of doing that, which I should have, I just didn't offer, which was the mistake. So now I know, even offer if you know that they'll say no. But that is why that happened. And I spent a long time thinking about it.
His explanation is really good, really valuable, and a complete lie. He just lied to you entirely. Because the truth is, Noonan, and he hit on it a second ago when he talked about COVID, he thought your dirty COVID hands would ruin his entire beer fridge. So he didn't invite you because he didn't want you to put disease into his refrigerator. I heard it. I heard the truth in the lie.
I know. And the weird thing is he accepted what I brought to his home and laid on his
you don't know about that.
COVID hands.
Did he consume it in front of you, Noonan?
It wasn't food. It was something that could be, that was was that the baby stuff? Yeah.
Cody, do you still have it? Can you prove you still have it? You didn't throw it out.
No, we do. We still have it.
Okay.
Craig, we're burying the lead here. How is bachelor life?
Yeah, Craig.
What have you been doing? Power Rangers marathon?
Getting strippers over at the storage shed?
Yeah. You know what's hilarious about the bachelor life? Coronavirus. I'm not doing anything. I'm staying inside all the time doing nothing. I'm thrilled I'm married at this point in my life because this is a sad life. If this was all you were doing all the time.
I thought of you last night, Craig.
Yeah.
Because Molly, when Molly moved down to New Orleans, there used to be a TV in her bedroom. Well, we took that TV down in the basement. She asked me, could you bring it back up? Because I need to. She watches every week. What does she watch on Tuesday night? The Bachelor.
Yeah.
With her friend. So, and I was like, oh, Craig is probably thinking that I'm watching The Bachelorette as he is watching The Bachelorette. While it was on in my home, I was not watching it.
Yeah, I also didn't watch it, actually. I have skipped that show completely.
I saw, this is all I know about The Bachelorette, what I saw on Jimmy Kimmel Live, where he ran a whole thing of every one of the dudes referred to themselves as a grown-ass man. They were all grown-ass men. And they used it, and he cut together about, it had to be, and I wish I was exaggerating, 30 instances of these guys calling themselves grown-ass men.
That's incredible.
And it ended with her going, I'm just looking for a grown-ass man.
I don't know why you don't like the show. You just described something I'd want to watch for an hour, easily.
Only if they cut those funny things together where it was a million
more
saying the exact same thing.
And my favorite part, one of those grown-ass men is going to weep when he gets rejected and thrown off the show on like week 2.
I think she called them all into a room
and
told them she didn't like their drama.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wasn't paying attention.
You didn't care.
I was watching something else downstairs.
And there you go.
You know, trying to keep the little dog, the 12-pound dervish under control.
Cody seems very confused in this moment.
This one? Just this one?
Just this one.
This is
yeah. Yeah, I think so. That Cody, sounds like a lovely show.
I know you were not, all is forgotten. All is forgiven. I brought it up, as you know, for purely comedic effect.
Oh, I know. I'm not worried about it. But I was still trying to figure out, the point still stood that I did in fact not offer one, and that caused a moment of reflection. Dude, I know they look small.
They're wife who at least offered me water on a 9 to 5 degree day.
4 feet tall, dude. Look at this. They're 4 feet tall. They're floor to ceiling. Look at that. Down 4 feet. 4 feet. That's up here, all the way to the ceiling. And there's another acoustic panel up there that's glowing because it's glowing. Dude, I built those with like saws and tools and stuff. I didn't own a house or a garage.
The calluses on your man hands now.
What happened?
Show me the calluses on your big man hands now. Look at those.
That doesn't look like a grown-ass man to me.
Yeah, well, you blinked.
Boy hands. Hands of a boy who may have played saxophone once.
Ocarina a lot.
I would get the saxophone, but my wife, who refuses to engage with you, Craig.
She won't answer that?
I said, do you want to come tell Craig off on the podcast? And she's like, I don't want to be on your show.
I would like that. That would be fun.
We went eating popcorn. It was awesome. I married the
seems
right
hurt.
girl.
I don't know. We would welcome all spouses.
Yeah.
I know my wife will never come on either. So Molly
Really?
won't come on. Nobody will come on.
The dog?
Molly used to come on.
The dog would come on. I think after the holidays, because they're here, I don't know, till hell freezes over. Well, they came home. Molly came home a week early. She was supposed to be coming home this Saturday, but then she started worrying because they were talking about all these travel bans and all this. So she was like, I can work from your house. So I've been in my house. I've been tested every week. Can I just come home this Saturday instead of next Saturday? And we're like, yeah, I guess. Okay. So she came home. So she's here, and we may go, depending on how everything shakes out, we may go down to New Orleans for a week in December just to check on her apartment and stuff. But other than that, she's working from home, and their semester, she works for Tulane. Their semester is over next week. And she'll keep working remotely from our house. So yeah, she's here. So I may be able to get the dog to come up because I got to be honest. He's one of these little dogs, and he's very nice, but she treats him like a child, like it's her baby. And I'm trying to make this dog into a dog. So I've been exerting some control over this dog. Like the dog will follow me wherever, because he knows, unlike my wife and daughter, that I am the pack leader. I am the alpha male of this pack. He senses it at his young age that I'm the one to follow.
Can we get a more specific example of a way in which you're treating the dog like a dog and your daughter is treating this dog like a baby?
She will constantly have him on her lap.
Okay.
Talk to him like a human. And I'll say, all right, Walter, that's enough. Let's go.
Gotcha.
And so
why do we baby talk animals, by the way, for people that do talk to animals? Why is it so tempting? Cody, have you ever studied this in curiosity? Why do we go to the baby talk voice?
Because we're hoping they'll answer us back.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be scary.
One day I would love it if one of my dogs went, dude, this sucks. This food you're giving me is just garbage.
I'm sorry. No, I would freak out very, very hard if an animal just casually said a word back to me and then went back to being a dog. Like they just give you the one sentence and then that's it.
I gotta say something weird that you'll both make fun of me for, but that's why this is a good show. Little babies, before they like talk or do anything, like they're kind of like little animals in a weird way.
Uh-oh. This will get you in trouble. I can't wait. Go further. How is your son? How is your infant son like an animal?
Well, no, because because all they can do is be hungry, poop, and scream, right? Yeah. So like that's what most like small animals are like. So it's weird like raising a very small child because they're so like
that must be a nightmare for you and Casey since he's not using correct grammar yet. That's just got to be horrible. I can't even imagine the amount of times you're correcting the babbles.
Greg, you think that's funny, but he actually does use correct grammar.
Does he?
Around us. Yeah.
Okay.
He's his mother's son.
I wish I knew where he went to school.
Dad,
I would ask him.
What, Brian?
He said, Dad, can I have a pillow?
Yeah.
Unlike some of our friends who say,
He says, hello. May I have a pillow? Because he knows the difference between may and can. So, very advanced beyond his years. And I mean, there is nothing more happy or satisfying than raising him, but it is weird, like, because you're like, this is a human, but like,
well, at that point, you got to wait till they can. You got to wait till they can communicate, because it is. I will say I can see the corollary because many times one of my dogs will sit in front of me and just whine, and she could tell me what the hell was wrong. So. And when a baby is crying, you're like, I wish you could just tell me what was wrong.
I'll steer into this. I won't steer away anymore. We'll do this. Noonan, I got to ask you, as a guy that has a kid that's now an adult, is it weird to think about what Cody's talking about? The time frame when Molly was a little baby who was more like an animal, according to Cody. Is that weird to think about?
Yard. So there's a lot that hasn't changed. She's she's primal.
Right.
That's what I like about her. She's not afraid to just down a goat in the park and eat it.
Do you ever look at your kid though and picture the baby? Does that ever come up? Is there times where you think of baby version of my now adult child.
Yeah, when she's giving me all kind of lip, and I go, man, I wish you still could talk. That would be lovely. That would be
Okay.
the
Just
best.
curious.
Best time when I could just put you in a chair and you'd bounce, and that was it. And you did exactly what I wanted you to do because you had no other choice. And now you're a full grown woman instead of a full grown man. And you're watching The Bachelorette in my house. And she, and we had the other day, we're dealing with her dog, and she's getting upset because our big dog is wrestling with the little dog, but the little dog has a Napoleonic complex and keeps attacking the big dog. And I'm like, what do you expect? This big dog is one of these times, he's just going to go, screw this, whap. Our dogs are very nice and cool, and they're laid back, because they're lazy like their owner. And so they just kind of take it. But at some point they're going to go, no, I'm not taking this anymore. Beyond the pale.
This is actually true, by the way, about cats. And I think maybe even Curiosity talked about this. I don't know how I know this. They would kill us if they were bigger, right? Cats want to kill us. No, this is true. You guys Google it. Someone look it up. The reason that cats can be household pets is they're not large enough to murder humans. That is true. That is absolutely true. And Curiosity might have told me that, or apparently not, because Cody's very confused. They desire to kill us.
Wait, hold on. Have you been listening to Curiosity since I left?
No, I don't know. I don't remember what I heard. I feel like this is a long time ago. Cats would murder people if they could do it.
You dodged that question so hard.
Can I read this to you, Craig?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I Googled, do cats want to kill us?
Thank you.
I think that was as straightforward as it could be. The first thing that pops up on Google is from cheatsheet.com.
Very reliable source.
It says cats are natural predators. As members of the predator family, your cat possesses the innate desire to hunt and kill.
Yep.
Domesticated cats may act on these murderous urges less often, which is a terrifying phrase, less often.
Yep.
The trait is still present in their DNA no matter what their living situation.
Yeah. Go to the USA Today article that's just under it if you Googled that phrase. Your cat may want to kill you, study says.
That's why I have always been, and I know this infuriates people, especially when I talk to our good friend Steve Dale, the pet expert.
Yeah.
I am not a cat guy. Never have been. Don't trust him. I dated a woman for a while that had cats. One, I'm allergic to them, but two, I don't trust them. They're shitty. They are aloof. They seem to be above it all. And I do believe, now I joke that my dogs would eat me if I died, but they wouldn't
They would not.
They would just, they'd probably be confused, but I don't think they'd kill me. Whereas I don't trust that a cat would not, conspire with other animals to try to take me out.
I just want to pause for a second. Neither of you believed what I was saying was true. We Googled it and I was accurate. Are we impressed at all in the random knowledges of a Craig Collins there that your cat does want to kill you? It's just not big enough to do it.
Hold on.
What impressed me more is, had we Googled, will a cat use a chamois? And it came up, and I would have gone, oh my God, Craig might be onto something that we are underestimating.
I'm going to Google if ShamWows make for a good bath towels.
Can I tell a cat with a chamois?
Oi, Brian. Oi, Brian. Are you sure you weren't allergic to your girlfriend at a time and not the cat?
Boy, there's so many off-color jokes I could make if we were just sitting in the garage right now about what I was allergic to and cat-related and, petting it. But I won't make any of those because, we're still at a family-friendly forum.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
Craigley, you still dodged the question.
He does
Have
that.
you listened to an episode of Curiosity Daily since I went on paternity leave?
I don't know why I do that. You're gone. That's the only thing I listen for, of
What are
course.
you going to listen to?
Right.
I want an honest answer.
Yes, I've heard the show without you. Yes.
How? Okay. Because I listened to an episode and I was like,
Noonan is freaking out.
I listened to an episode and I was like, it's going well. This is good. This is fine. This is good.
Okay.
So were you like, this is awful without Cody? I mean,
I don't know what you're leading me toward. Cody, you should get fired immediately, or Cody,
I wanna
you're
know-
replaceable.
I'm going to go get my waders because if we're going fishing for compliments, I'm going right into the water.
I want to go after Casey again because I feel very awkward in this situation now.
Stop going after my wife.
Fewer and less.
Dude, she's
I
eating
will-
popcorn in bed. She has more important things to do.
Oh my
I
God, you're
wanna
letting
know
her
if
eat
you've been
popcorn in
listening
bed,
to
and
my-
yes, I said letting. She's eating popcorn in bed.
Yeah.
Does she have less popcorn than when she started, or is it fewer popcorns?
You were popcorn, you animal.
Yeah, because most of it is now going to be on the sheets.
Right. Yeah. So
Wow.
there's extra
Oh, man.
sheet popcorn now.
We need a Sheets donut.
Who eats in their bed?
What are we talking about?
My wife.
Eating food in bed.
Like what?
My
Like what kind of
Not in,
food?
not in a fun 9.5 weeks way, but like I'm gonna have a hoagie while I'm just lounging in bed.
See,
Brian,
popcorn's not a hoagie.
Craig eats out of a
Popcorn is
pot
popcorn.
in bed. Craig just cooked a pot of pasta.
No,
he doesn't
that's
even
not
drain
accurate.
it.
This
Craig
is not.
doesn't have a bed. He's on the floor of his storage shelter.
He
Hold
brings
on.
the pot into his bed. He doesn't even drain it. He just eats it with a metal knife. With a knife, not a fork. Just like
You guys judge, but you're doing life wrong. That's all I'm gonna say, because I'm doing life better.
Okay.
I got a ShamWow and I feel extra dry,
Really?
and I got no dirty dishes.
Buffing your nards and you're eating out of a pot.
I could actually dry myself with the ShamWow and then clean the dish with it, the pot. That
That's
could
true.
work.
That's
Yeah.
true. Clean it all. Use your Famunda water towel on it.
Famunda water?
Yep.
What is that?
Figure it out. Google it.
Google
Look
it.
it up. Use the Urban Dictionary.
It'll be fun.
It's gonna
It'll
be
be
great.
real fun for you.
My
It'll
phone.
be hilarious.
This has been a good show.
Hilarious.
We're at the 10 o'clock mark now, so I don't know if
Yeah.
we say goodbye or if we keep going.
Start wrapping up because my head is getting redder and redder, and I feel my ears starting to burn. So I know that now, and how much I've got. I'm not going to finish this bottle tonight, fellas. I've got about a third of this bottle left, and that's not going to happen.
Do
Craig,
you have another
You know,
wine
I have
stopper?
I have one heart-shaped wine stopper,
Okay.
and then I have a nice Celtic nut.
I thought you were going to have to go to 4 Binnies to get one more wine stopper.
Why would I do that?
Because
I
that would
almost-
be in.
I almost wanted to go unpack all our Christmas decorations because I know we have some Christmas wine stoppers,
Oh, there you go.
but that would have been untenable.
No,
All of
I think
sudden
it's a
tear up
really
the
good
entire
idea.
Basement to
Oh, yeah,
just
my
find a
special
wine
number
stopper.
4. Check this out. Look at that wine stopper.
Ooh. I like
Boom.
that.
I don't want to be on the show anymore.
Christmas AF.
What is
Craig's wine-
happening?
Craig's wine stopper is just a wad of toilet paper. that
I
he
just-
dried himself with at church. Oh no,
I-
that was Cody. Never mind.
I finish my drinks, guys. I leave no soldiers behind.
Oh, that's almost like a challenge.
That's what it's supposed to be.
I would like to see Craig finish a bottle.
I absolutely.
You could, yeah, you can. I definitely have by myself in the past. And let's be honest. If we're putting all our cards on the table, fellas, I'm going down and I'm drinking the rest of this bottle. There's no doubt about it. I can pretend that I'm a teetotaler all day. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't. Please, I can't really. Blah blah blah.
Right.
I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna turn on the news, and I'm gonna sit there until this bottle is gone.
Well,
And
I'm
then
much
gonna
more
go.
proud of you.
Then it's gonna be really hard. I'm gonna like crawl up the stairs and roll into bed next to Debbie. And go hello, and she's gonna get out of here, you freak. Go take a shower at church with your friend Cody and his toilet paper towel.
I want all
Only
this to
when I'm-
happen.
Only when I'm in church.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what you guys are going to regret most at the end of the show. I think it's probably that story from Cody.
I regret nothing.
Wait, which story from me? The church one?
The church shower and the toilet paper.
Dude, do you know how well I did in that Smash Brothers tournament?
I can
Better
imagine.
than you did get that sentence out of your head.
Right.
I lost every match. Every single match. Handled.
Sure, 'cause you were traumatized by what the hell happened in the bathroom stall
Mhm.
when a vicar tried to draw you with some
Oh.
bounty.
Vicar, I hardly knew her.
I don't know what's happening. We love the fact that you guys come and join us for these every single week. Thank you so much
We
to all
do.
our.
We are
viewers.
taking next week off because it is the Thanksgiving holiday.
What?
Yes.
Where are
Sorry.
you? Why? Where are you going?
Well, I'm Wednesday. I'm going to be cooking and doing a broadcast radio program,
Mhm.
and then Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I'm cooking for my family. Friday, I'm doing a broadcast radio program, as is Craig.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think it's
Are
just
you
time.
really?
I will be filling in for Chad Benson next Wednesday and Friday. Chad Benson is heard in about 100 different markets, some bigger ones like Indianapolis, Orlando. There's a bunch of them. And if not, just pop on the Radio America website and grab it there.
Very nice. And that's Wednesday and Friday?
Yes, and then a few times in
it
December.
airs at all different times, right? So find your local listings, as they like to.
Sacramento is one of the earliest ones. I think that's earlier on in the day, like 9, 10 o'clock our time. And then
we know somebody in Sacramento.
We do.
Well, Chicago.
It's not on in Chicago. We're working on that. Good talk, guys.
Get the mustache.
You're both really famous.
I'm going to be on WTMJ Wednesday from 6 to 9, and then Black Friday from noon to 3.
That's cool. I'm done with paternity leave on Friday.
Wendy, so next week you go. Wait, you don't go back to work on Thanksgiving week, do you?
I go back to work on Thanksgiving. I did that on purpose because no one does anything Thanksgiving
and it's
week.
a short week.
So I'd have to do like 2 things, and then I get a few days off. It's smart.
So will you be back on Discovery Daily, part of the or Curiosity Daily, part of the Discovery family of brands?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Craig
told me that the show is so good without you. He's been listening nonstop.
I was really hoping he wasn't going to get added back. No, I'm kidding.
When I left, I had recorded 2 weeks in advance. So hopefully when I come back to work Monday, I know I'm recording Tuesday, but hopefully on that Tuesday, I'll be recording episodes that'll air like mid-December. I don't want to have to edit for 10 hours on Black Wednesday.
No.
That'd be unfortunate.
Black Friday.
But who knows?
But
there's also Black Wednesday. It's Black Tuesday, Black Wednesday, Black Thursday, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and then Cyber Sex Monday.
Aren't all the deals already available on the Best Buy?
Cyber Sex Monday?
Oh, yeah. I already took advantage of an early Black Friday deal.
Yeah.
35% off something.
Stop. I'm stopping you both. No. It's not a Black Friday deal if it's not on Black Friday. Oh, look at our Black Friday deal on Tuesday, November 17th. That doesn't make any sense. It's a Black Friday deal if it happens on the day that is literally Black Friday. That is next Friday, November 27th. If it does not occur on Black Friday, November 27th, it is not a Black Friday sale. That's all I have to say. It's dumb. It's dumb marketing. It's like when marketing is like grand opening sale when a place has been open for like 10 years.
I can't get into this. I can't get into this rant unless you stand. Cody, you got to do it standing up. You got to get on the soapbox.
Okay. Yell it into your base blocker or blue blocker. Or whatever
so keep going. What's the problem with a Black Friday sale that's happening on like a Tuesday?
It's not a Black Friday sale if it's on a Tuesday. All right. Okay. By definition.
Can I get an amen?
By definition, Friday is not Tuesday. Okay? Friday is not Tuesday.
It is not,
Friday,
my friend.
It's not Wednesday.
I never thought it was.
Not Thursday.
Get it out of your system.
Monday.
Woo! I heard.
I think when people listen to this on the audio, they are going to miss out on the frenetic, spastic movements of Cody as he made his pitch. By the way, you can now listen to this on Spotify and Google Podcasts and the radio something else and Anchor and Spotify. I don't know.
The next time we promote something, I'm not going to get an inflatable tube man like I'm normally one to do. I'm just going to have Cody do it from outside of the house somewhere.
Flailing about like a spastic.
I can't wait.
Where's the lie? What about what I just said is inaccurate?
Nothing.
Can we say Black Friday style sale?
No, we can say shut the hell up, marketers.
You gotta stand up. I can't do it with you sitting down.
We can say stop it, marketers. You're the worst.
Okay.
You're the actual worst.
I took advantage of a good sale.
Wow, John just brought the philosophy to the show. Black Friday is a concept. It's not a day.
That's a lie. That's a lie. No.
Black Friday is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's one that I live all the time, man.
I live like when Black Friday comes, man, me and Steely Dan wearing no socks and shoes.
Black Friday doesn't happen to me. I happen to Black Friday.
I don't live that life. I don't live that life because I understand the days of the week are, it's like saying that literally doesn't mean literally. Like Friday is literally Thursday. That's where we're at. Thanks, Gen Z.
Wow. All right. I'm all about, I I load up my guns. You know that I'm crazy.
I had a good time on the show.
That's
Craig is
Fetty
like,
Wap.
I
didn't know
cannot.
Fetty Wap did a version of Black Friday. He doesn't do the Steely Dan Black Friday.
What's the
Fetty
Fetty
Wap?
Wap?
Fetty Wap. Do
What-
Fetty
Wap?
Wap from the Rocky soundtrack. That's not true. That was Take It Back. Yeah, I don't even know what the melody would be if there is one. I know that Fetty Wap for Black Fridays. You know, you my baby. You know. I load up my guns. You know that I'm crazy. I load up my guns. You know that I'm crazy. I'm sorry, girl, for making you crazy.
Fetty Wap is a 29-year-old rapper who's been active since 2013. Noonan, how do you know about Fetty Wap?
I know things.
This is
Hold on.
impressive.
As Tyrion Lannister once said, I drink and I know things.
Yes, I have a T-shirt that says that.
Hold on. Fetty Wap it was responsible for the 2008 housing crisis. And we
Fetty
had
Wap?
to bail out Fetty Wap.
No, that was Freddie Mac. That was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Where did you go to school, Cody? That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Wow. John misses the old Black Friday days when people bash each other over the head for a TV set. Who doesn't love civil unrest, John?
Yeah, honestly.
I love it. Listen, there's a good chance there's going to be this Black Friday anyway, whether it happens or not. Oh, my God. Why does he have a framed diploma that
I don't know.
That's where I went to school, Craig.
Yeah, I see.
Eat it. Where did you go to school?
I don't know.
Wow.
Where did you go to radio?
You are
How
such a
many
coastal
musical
elite,
instruments can
Cody.
you name? How many musical instruments can you name?
None. I'm gonna wait. We're just gonna wait it out.
You know what's gonna make me so happy when he drops that and all we hear is a glass crack. That is gonna. I don't know why it will fill me with joy, but it's gonna fill me with unbridled joy.
It'll remind me of Black Friday and how
Do you
people
work
break
for,
things.
Gonna wear no
Fetty
socks
Wap?
and shoes. Not Fetty Wap. I don't like Fetty Wap's version. I'm old school Steely Dan Black Friday. Because I used to do the early Friday morning show when I was first at another radio station that will remain nameless.
Mhm.
I used to do the overnights. So I would start at like 11 o'clock Thanksgiving night. And of course, once the top of the midnight hour, you had to play. I think it was contractually obligated to play Black Friday.
The Rebecca Black song.
Black Friday.
Yeah.
And that was also the time when people would go to the outlet malls. And so they'd be lining up, when people would go. So you could talk to people all night who were at the outlet mall getting, 30% off on some sneakers that they were never really going to wear.
Hey, do you guys
What?
remember Website Wednesday night?
I do.
We've all worked it. Remember Steve and Johnny? They used to
Yes.
have Website Wednesday night.
Yes.
And Craig, you've produced for them on Wednesday. I've produced for them on Wednesday. Brian, you've hosted for them on Wednesday.
I hosted Website Wednesday many times.
They took listener calls for tech support. That was funny. I wonder if anybody in the chat remembers Website
The
Wednesday
crazy
night.
thing was there were people who would be on hold for hours,
Oh, they would wait all night.
waiting to talk to Mike DeMichael or whoever else. There were a couple other computer guys that would come on, and those days are long gone. I toast to them.
Yeah, let's all toast to them.
I
love
also-
Steve and Johnny.
Wednesday.
I just
we
something-
could stay on, and I actually almost used you guys. I used you guys for a Website Tuesday yesterday, but I got the blue screen of death. I was like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Did you fix that, by the way?
I turned the computer off, or I powered it down.
Uh-huh.
Then I turned it back on, and then it took me through all the steps like it was just a brand new thing. And my wife called the IT guys at her firm, and they said, "Sounds like they're like Windows crashed, and they were just installing a new Windows."
Yeah, which is what I told you to do in my
Right.
response.
But I didn't have to do anything.
There you go.
Because I turned it on, and once I realized that I wasn't getting scammed and that Microsoft really did need my password to get in, everything was fine. And then I quick ran a bunch of scans and viruses and stuff. And what do you do? What do you got there?
I don't know.
I'm showing off my glass. This is from Fobab 2019, which I attended with you, Brian.
You mean this glass, Fobab
The
2019?
Festival of barrel-aged beers. Cheers, my friend. You drinking out of
Cheers.
that?
Let
Cheers.
me see what I have. I
We
got
have-
my Fobab 2019 too.
Tim says he remembers Christopher from Website Wednesday, and Patrick Crispin used to be on with Steve and Johnny, says Barbara. Yes.
Dude, we have
And
like
Mike-
half a
Mike-
dozen comments on Website Wednesday night. I'm so glad that I'm not the only one that remembers that.
Everybody remembers. Alex remembers, and Christine, and
That's
Surprisingly, still no one knows Mewtwo 27. That's still a thing nobody knows.
MuteTube.
Whatever he said earlier, the gamer that Cody was saying is very famous.
King and
Mewtwo 27, not
That's like
killing
the
it.
big- is that one of those big wheeled trucks, a monster truck?
I don't know. Website Wednesday, bunch of people knew about it.
Yeah, Patrick, that's what I meant. See how well I recall it. That from Tim.
Apparently,
Yes, there's a lot of fun with there. Well, so gentlemen, this is we will be back December 2nd for our next quarantine cast. In the
Dad's
meantime, what's that?
my dad's birthday.
Is that your dad's birthday?
Yeah.
If you want, we'll sing.
Nah, he
Not
does not
happy
gonna want
birthday.
that. Neither am I.
Maybe I'll sing
No.
Black Friday by Fitty Wap.
I can learn to play.
Or maybe I'll just sing. Maybe I'll just sing WAP from Cardi B.
I am all about that. Let's do
You think
that.
You'd like that? You'd like it if I busted
Yeah.
out a little WAP?
If Noonan sings all of WAP, that's going to be a downloaded show. We're going to do well.
I think you've thrown down a gauntlet.
You got to finish the drink, sing all the WAP.
Oh, I can. Well, the first part's fine. I will have to watch some videos, of course, with the door closed, so that I can figure out. I understand what it is. I don't know the melody. I've
Gotcha.
only listened to it once, about halfway through.
Look, I don't care if you remix
Debbie
it.
walked in the room and I went, "This is embarrassing." I can't.
You can do it in any way you want, Noonan. You can make your own version of it as long as you're saying the words.
All of them.
Yeah. This is not something you want to do now. We want to plan this.
All right, 7 days a week. I'm a certified freak. That's what you want to know? That pullout game is weak. Whoa.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Noonan.
What?
We're good. We're done. This episode's over. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
What any of that means. All right.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday, Jeannie, Jean, John, Jeannie,
Oh,
Jean
Jean, Jeannie,
John-
Jean or Jeannie,
Kessler.
Jean or Jeannie.
Klutz.
all right. Well, happy birthday, Gene. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Be safe. Whatever you choose to do, just be safe, please. Take care of each other because things are getting rough, and it all does come down to us taking care of each other and caring about not just ourselves, but here's a concept: care about people you don't really know. You know, you already care about the people you know and love. Throw a little care towards somebody you don't know. Be very careful. Cody, Craig, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. I will say this without any, it's not the Bourbon County Star talking. I'm thankful that you guys are my friends and that we're doing this together. That is true. That's all I'm going to say about that because I'm not Forrest Gump and I'm not going to weep.
That
But,
is the beer
I'm
talking. I
thankful
know,
for you
Brian.
guys.
That's definitely the beer.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, I know you, Brian. That's definitely the beer, but that's okay. I feel
It's
the same
not.
way.
I'm trying to evolve. Cody, let me evolve
No,
for
no,
goodness sake.
It was
Nah.
very kind. And my only response
Thank
to
you,
you,
Cole.
Noonan, is that if you were to come over my house, I would offer you a beer. That's all I
I
want to say. Have
I
a good
know
night,
you-
everyone.
Take
I
care,
wouldn't.
folks. I know you won't, Cody. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Don't forget to look for Craig filling in for Chad Benson. Don't forget the big return of Cody next week on Curiosity Daily, part of the Discovery family of brands. Don't
Sometime.
forget to listen to me on WTMJ this Friday and then next Wednesday and Friday. You can just come to the Facebook page. You'll know all of that. Follow the guys on Facebook and Twitter. And that's that, really.
And start counting down because 2 weeks from now, Noonan is doing all of WAP on the show. It's going to be awesome.
If you're lucky, I will also dress like Cardi B.
All right.
You know, I don't know who I'm going to get to do the song with me, but maybe Walter.
Cody's an obvious choice.
Maybe Walter and I will do WAP.
I'm not wearing pants.
Wet ass puppy. That's what we'll do. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks.